All right, we are on the record for hearings on the matters listed in the North Dakota Industrial Commission hearing docket for May 27th, 2026. My name is Matthew Sagsveen, hearing examiner for these hearings, and we are at the hearing room for the Department of Mineral Resources, Oil and Gas Division, and it is 8:59 a.m. on May 27th. On the docket, the following matters will be continued or dismissed today. Case number 32824 is continued. 32825 is continued. 32829 is continued. 32831 was dismissed. 32833 was continued. 32835 was continued. 32841 was continued. 32844 is continued. 32845 is continued. 32848 is continued. 32850 will be heard, but the record will be kept open due to a publication issue. 32730 is continued. 32737 is continued. 32746 is continued. 32742 is continued. 32743 is continued. 32744 is continued. 32377 is continued. 32301 is continued. 32396 is continued. 32397 is continued. 32378 is continued. 32210 is continued. 32211 is continued. 31928 is continued. 31929 is continued. 31930 is continued. 31977 is continued. And on the administrative, or before we get to the administrative docket, 32913 is continued. And on the administrative docket, the following cases are continued: 31960, 31966, 31967, 31968, 31969, and 32004. Today's docket, the administrative docket, starts on page 13 with case number 32853 and goes through case number 32865. These cases will be heard in the next room with Michael Zisch. Audio recordings of the cases on the administrative docket will be placed on the Oil and Gas website by the end of the week. If you wish to appear in one of the matters on the administrative docket, please appear in the next room. If there is opposition to the matter, it will be brought back into this hearing room to be heard, and your statements and evidence will be taken.
Mr. Examiner, just heads up on the bottom of page 6, case 32842. We'll be dismissing that case. It's already spaced for sufficient a number of wells. I didn't catch that, so we'll be going ahead and dismissing that case.
All right, so noted. Okay, so this morning we will begin with case number 32821. This is an application for Kraken Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Little Muddy Bakken Pool in Williams County, North Dakota, to one, establish an overlapping stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 4, 9, 16, and 21 in Township 158 North, Range 101 West, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit. And 2, establish an overlapping stand-up 5120 acre spacing unit described as sections 3, 4, 9, 10, 15, 16, 21, and 22 in Township 158 North, Range 101 West, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on such unit, or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Counsel?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Kraken Operating LLC. I'll have 3 witnesses testify, Justin Payne, Brian Lucero, and Samuel Fonseca, and they will also be testifying in the next 2 Kraken cases as well, and I believe they're online.
Okay. And so Mr. Payne is your first witness?
Yep, Justin Payne.
Okay. Mr. Payne,
Yes, sir.
Could
Hear
you?
me? Okay.
I can hear you. Thanks. Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you.
Justin, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
My name is Justin Payne, JUSTINPAYNE. I'm employed by Kraken Resources as a landman. Our business address is 945 Bunker Hill Road, Suite 1200, Houston, Texas 77024.
And Justin, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the land matters associated with the proposed spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Can I have you take a look at exhibit number L1 and have you identify the general area of these spacing units?
Sure. Let me make sure my map is working here. L1 is our regional locator map. Let me see if this is. Y'all see the exhibit on my screen?
Not yet.
What are you saying?
There, I see one of the engineering exhibits. It looks like you got them pulled up now.
Yeah, I think that's the 2-3.
Yeah, okay.
Counsel, we have paper copies of the exhibit, so if you'd like to examine your witness.
Justin, if you can't pull it up, that's fine. The hearing examiner and commission staff all have hard copies of the exhibits.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Apologize for having some.
Sure. Let's. Do you have them in front of you so that you can go through them?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Let's. Look at L1 then and identify that area of these proposed spacing units.
Okay. Exhibit L1 is our regional locator map showing a little muddy Bakken Pool in Williams County, North Dakota. Highlighted in yellow is the entire section of 158, 101, with it extending into 4-9 for the little muddy Bakken Pool.
Okay. And then moving on to L2, can I have you identify the proposed 2560 and then your working interest in that proposed spacing unit?
Sure. So Exhibit L2 shows the highlighted in green sections 4, 9, 16, and 21 with a working interest at section 4 of 72.6%, 56.17 in section 9, 100% in section 16, which is state, 87.5 in section 21 for the 2560 acre recap for sections 4, 9, 16, and 21. We hold a 79.07% working interest.
Okay. And then moving on to L3, if you could identify the 5120 in your working interest in that spacing unit.
Sure. So L3 shows sections 4, 9, 16, and 21 highlighted previously on the previous page, as well as sections 3, 10, 15, and 22. For this 51 acre spacing unit for sections 4, 9, 16, 21, and 3, 10, 15, and 22, we hold an 87.88% working interest.
Okay. I have no further questions for Mr. Payne on the land exhibits.
All right, the exhibits are admitted into evidence. Any questions from staff?
What's that? Hey, Justin, can you stop doing the screen share?
Yeah. There we go. Is that better?
Yep.
All right, can you take a look at L1?
Sure.
So there's an existing lease line 5120 of 15, 16, 21, 22, 27, 28, 33, and 34. So it overlaps the bottom half of the 5120 you're requesting. Would you want that existing 5120 terminated?
Yes, we would like that to be terminated.
Thank you.
Any additional questions from staff? All right, hearing none, Council, you may call your next witness.
Brian Lucero.
Mr. Lucero, could you raise your right hand, please?
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly
Can you
swear?
hear me?
Yep. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you.
Brian, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed and what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, sir. My name is Brian Lucero. I am employed by Kraken Oil and Gas as their geology manager. Our address is 945 Bunker Hill Road, Suite 1200, Houston, Texas, 77024.
And Brian, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, sir, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the geology underlying the proposed spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Lucero be received as that of an expert.
Motion is granted.
And Brian, let's start with G1. Can you take a look at that exhibit and describe the structure underlying the 2560?
Yes, sir. G1 is a structure map based on the top of the Middle Bakken Formation. 50-foot contour interval showing dip generally to the south-southeast. It shows the outline of sections 4, 9, 16, and 21, and it also has the location of our type log.
Okay. Let's move on to your ISOPAC G2. Can you take us through that exhibit?
G2 is the ISOPAC across the township, same sections outlined, also with the location of our type log, generally showing Middle Bakken thickness of about 44 feet on average.
Okay. And then G3, this essentially the same as G1. Any
Yes, sir,
distinctions
just-
with respect to the larger spacing unit?
No, sir, just shows all 8 sections in this case.
Okay. And then similar on the second ISOPAC G4, anything different
Correct.
with the larger spacing unit?
No, sir.
Then let's move on to the type log G5. Can you describe what you're showing us on that exhibit?
Of course. G5 is our type log for this area, the Peterson number 1-14A. It's a representative log of the Middle Bakken target for the sections in question.
Okay. I have no further questions for Mr. Lucero. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none, Council may call your next witness.
Samuel Fonseca.
Mr. Fonseca, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Samuel, can I have you state your name for the record, tell us by whom you're employed and what capacity, and give us your business address?
Sure. My name is Samuel Fonseca. I'm employed by Kraken Oil and Gas LLC as a reservoir engineer. The address is 945 Bunker Hill Road, Suite 1200, Houston, Texas, 77024.
And Samuel, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes.
And have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you also familiar with the engineering matters associated with these proposed spacing units?
I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Fonseca be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Samuel, let's start with E1. How would you propose to develop the 2560?
Sure. Exhibit E1 shows the proposed development diagram for the 2560 acre DSU outlining in sections 4, 9, 16, and 21. Here we're showing the Keith North 4-mile wells in green dashed. Not shown on here, but the pad location would be just within that northern section 28, drilling from that third well, drilling going north. And these wells will be batch drilled. We estimate IP towards the end of 2027 or first quarter of 28.
Okay. And then moving on to E2, that lease line well, how would you develop the 5120 with that well?
Yeah, so Exhibit E2 shows in black that Keith North LE well. It'll be on the unit, on the lease line corridor. It'll also be drilled from that same pad location. So we'll only have one pad for these 5 wells.
Okay. And then moving on to E3, describe for us how you would intend to drill and complete the wells.
Exhibit E3 shows our 20,000-foot lateral wellbore schematic comprised of 4 drill string design with the conductor surface casing, the intermediate casing, and induction liner. We use cemented liner and we plug and perf and try to target 167 foot per stage.
Okay. And then moving on to E4, can you summarize the reservoir data for us?
Sure. Exhibit E4 shows some of our reservoir data. Initial reservoir pressures are average around 5,800 psi. Porosity is around 8 to 9%. Water saturation between 50 and 70%. We're looking at the 2560 acre spacing with an estimated recovery factor from 3 to 4%. We're modeling GOR to increase through the first 24 months while on ESP and then flatten out thereafter while on rod pump. We're modeling a EUR of 700,000 barrels of oil.
Okay. And then moving on to E5, can you walk us through the economics? Right, actually, this E5, sorry, that's the reservoir data exhibit for the 5120. Yeah, if there's any kind of distinctions with respect to the larger spacing, you can just point those out.
There isn't. It's identical. Just your recovery factor will be lower because you're looking at a 5120 DSU,
Sure.
but same EUR for that well.
Sure. Now moving on to the economics. E6, the economics for those wells on the 2560.
Yeah, so the Exhibit E6 shows the well economics for the in-unit wells. Estimated EUR, again, 700,000 barrels of oil. Modeling a CapEx of $12.2 million, running it at $60 oil, $3.25 gas flat. We yield an IRR of 33% and a net present 10% at $3.41 million. The discounted return on investment is 1.37 and the payout is just shy of 3 years. The midstream gathering for oil will be Kraken Marketing, gas will be ONEOK, and water will be Hydro Services LLC.
And then Samuel, you've got an E7 as well. Looks like economics for the lease line well and the 5120. Are those going to be the same as on Exhibit 6 for the wells in the 2560?
That's correct.
And Samuel, in your opinion, if the commission were to approve the 2560 as well as the 5120 for the lease line well, is that going to prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Examiner, I have no further questions. We do, I don't have the gas capture plan affidavit with this. We just received them this morning, but we will get those filed by the end of the day. So, for each of these cases. So.
Okay, we'll keep the record open for another day.
That's fine. Yeah.
If you want to.
Sooner they get back to the office. So.
Okay. Any additional questions from staff? Hearing none. Council, did you move for G4 and G5? I don't have them.
I
listed
think
on
so. If not, yeah, G4, G5, all of the geology exhibits I'd move for their
my-
admission.
Okay. All right. Hearing no additional questions. Anything else in this case, Council?
No, Mr. Examiner.
All right, that'll conclude the hearing for case number 32821. Next on the docket is case number 32822. This is an application of Kraken Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Little Muddy Bakken Pool in Williams County, North Dakota. To one, establish two overlapping laydown 1920 acre spacing units described as sections 1, 2, and 3 in Township 158 North, Range 101 West, and sections 10, 11, 12 in Township 158 North, Range 101 West, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit. 2, establish an overlapping laydown 38, 40 acre spacing unit described as sections 1, 2, 3, 10, 11, 12 in Township 158 North, Range 101 West, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on such unit, or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, PO Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Kraken Operating LLC, and the same 3 witnesses will testify in this case.
All right, the witnesses continue to be under oath. Council, you may proceed.
Okay, Justin, looking at L1, can you identify the general area of the spacing units you're requesting in this case?
Sure. And I think we got the screen working too. Can you all see that over there?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay. Exhibit L1 is our regional locator map, shown from the previous case as well. The Little Muddy Bakken Pool in Williams County, North Dakota, for Township 158, Range 101 West. Also extending into sections 4 and 9, just south of there.
And moving on to L2, can you identify the 2 laydown 1920s and then your working interest in those?
Sure. So the northern laydown 1920 is comprised of sections 1, 2, and 3. In section 1, we have 61.8%. In section 2, we have 100%. Section 3, we also have 100%. For the northern 1920 laydown for 1, 2, and 3, we have an 87.27% working interest. For the southern laydown there, highlighted in yellow, for sections 10, 11, and 12. In section 10, we have a 91.67% working interest. For section 11, a 97.66% working interest. And for section 12, we have a 95.16% working interest. For the entire laydown 1920, we have a working interest of 94.82%.
Okay. And then moving on to L3, identify that overlapping 3840 in your working interest.
The Exhibit L3 just encompasses all 6 sections there highlighted in green. As gone over all 6 sections previously, for all 6 sections, our working interest is 91.02%.
I have no further questions on after the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, Council, call your next witness.
Okay, Brian Lucero. Brian, let's look at G1. Can you describe the structure underlying the proposed 1920 you've shown?
Yes, sir. G1 is a structure map based on the top of the Middle Bakken Formation. Again, 50-foot contour interval showing dip generally to the south-southeast. Outlines the northern laydown 3 sections and also the location of our type log.
Okay. Let's go to G2, the ISOPAC for that spacing unit.
Yes, sir. G2 is our ISOPAC for the township. Again, the northern laydown is outlined and the location of our type log is called out.
Okay. And then looking at G3, looks like similar structure map for that southern 1920s.
Actually, if I may, G3 and G5 simply show the southern laydown 3 sections, and then G5 shows the 6 sections as a whole.
Yep.
Same structure, no difference where that is concerned.
Sure. And then how about G4 then, as well as then G6, the ISOPAC?
Yes, sir. ISOPAC remains constant. Nothing changes there. Simply shows the outline of the southern sections lay down, and then the 6 sections combined.
Okay. And then moving on to G7 and that type log that you identified, can you describe what you're showing us on that type log?
Yes, sir. So G7 is the type log for the units in question. It's Hansen number 1, and again shows a representative Middle Bakken log for the units in question.
Okay, I have no further questions for Mr. Lucero. I'd offer the geology exhibits at this time.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call Mr. Fonseca.
All right, Samuel, let's start with E1. And looks like that northern 1920. How would you propose to develop that?
Yeah, Exhibit E1 shows the proposed development diagram and for the Durant North in sections 1, 2, and 3, and then the Durant South sections 10, 11, 12. These wells will be batch drilled as well, likely starting from the southern set of wells. The pad locations will have 2, one just on that unit 7, just within that lease line area, and then the other pad would be to the north of that in section 6. The lease line well will likely fall within the southern pad. And development timing, this would be towards early 2028, first quarter.
Okay. And then E2, I don't think you need to go through it since you already did, but that just shows the wells for the southern 1920.
That's right.
And then same for E3, that just shows the complete development, and you've got the 3840 depicted.
Yeah, on the lease line, and just to note that the lease line well will be directly on the lease line corridor.
Okay. All right, then how about E4? Can you describe for us how you intend to drill and complete each of these wells?
Yes, Exhibit E4 shows our 15,000-foot lateral wellbore schematic. Again, comprised of 4 drill string design with the conductor surface, intermediate casing, and the production liner. We do cemented liners on these and plug and perf completions, again, targeting 167 foot per stage.
Okay. Let's move on to E5 then. Take us through the reservoir data.
Exhibit E5 shows the reservoir data very similar to the previous exhibit. Now looking at a spacing of 1920 acres, a similar recovery factor of 3 to 4%, and EUR lower due to the 3 mile, but 550,000 barrels of oil.
And then on E6, you've got reservoir data for the 3840. Is there anything different here?
Just the recovery factor is a little lower since we're looking at the larger DSU, but everything's the same.
Sure. Let's move on to E7 then and the economics.
Sure. Exhibit E7 shows well economics for the 1920 DSU. Estimated ultimate recovery at 550,000 barrels of oil. Initial capital expenses of $10.5 million, and running this at a price deck of $60 flat oil and $3.25 gas. We yield an IRR of roughly 30%. Net present value of 10% at $2.4 million, and a discounted return on investment of 1.31. The payout is around 2.6 years. And again, midstream gathering is the same in this area for oil as Kraken Marketing, gas is ONEOK, and water is Hydro Services, LLC.
And then E8, economics for the lease line, well, is that going to be the same?
They'll be the same, yes, just reflecting the 40 acre DSU.
Okay. And Samuel, in your opinion, if the commission approves these two laid out 1920s, as well as the 3840 to allow for that development of that lease line corridor, is that going to prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay, I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits, and with this case as well, at the end of the day, we'll submit the gas capture plant affidavit.
All right, exhibits are admitted. We'll keep the record open until the end of the day or tomorrow. Any additional questions from staff?
Looking at Exhibit E1, I just want to go over the pad locations one more time. So there'll be one in the northwest of 7, correct?
Yes.
And then where is the pad location in Section 6?
It should mirror the same.
Yeah, so kind of say the.
It's between like that. For Section 6, it'd be between kind from the north side, between well 2 and 3, just east of the lease line.
So near the midpoint of the west line of Section 6?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Samuel, just confirming your intended target for the proposed wells.
Middle Bakken for all of these.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no further questions. Anything else, council?
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
All right, well, like I said, we'll keep the record open until tomorrow, but that will conclude the hearing for case number 32822. Next on the docket is case number 32823. This is an application of Kraken Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Good Luck and/or Otterbakken pools to establish an overlapping stand-up 5120 acre spacing unit described as section 1617, 20, 21, 28, 29, 32, and 33 in Township 157 North, Range 101 West in Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize one horizontal well to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council, same witnesses?
Yes, Mr. Examiner.
All right, witnesses will continue to be under oath, and you may proceed.
Okay. Justin, let's start with L1. If you could just identify the general area of this requested spacing unit.
Sure. So Exhibit L1 is our regional locator map, shown highlighted in yellow there, the Good Luck Bakken pool, and in blue purple is the Otter Bakken pool. In 157 North, Range 101 West, Williams County, North Dakota.
Okay. Then moving on to L2, can you describe the 5120 you're requesting and your working interest in that spacing unit?
Sure. So the 5120 comprises of sections 17, 20, 29, and 32 on the west side, and 16, 21, 28, and 33 on the east side. Kraken's working interest within section 17 is 0, 20, 0, 29, 0, 32, 0, but in section 16, 100%, 21, 97.63%, 28, 97.66%, section 33, 96.2%. For the entire 5120, we hold a working interest of just under 49% at 48.94%.
And Justin, will you communicate and work with the other working interest owners and offset operators with respect to this development and operatorship?
Yes, sir. That is absolutely our plan.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call your next witness.
Brian Lucero. And Brian, looking at G1, can you describe the structure underlying the spacing unit?
Yes, sir. G1 is our structure map based on the top of the Middle Bakken Formation across 157, 101. Shows the outline of sections 16, 17, 20, 21, 28, 29, and 32 and 33. Shows based on a 50-foot contour interval, shows dip generally to the southeast and includes the location of our type log.
Okay, let's go to G2 then. Can you take us through the ISOPAC map?
Yes, sir. G2 is our ISOPAC across the township. Again, the sections in question are outlined. Shows roughly a 40-foot average Middle Bakken thickness and also shows the location of our type log.
Okay, go ahead and move to G3 then, the type log. What are you showing on that exhibit?
G3 is our type log for this area, the Ben Dixon number 1-18. It's a representative log across the Middle Bakken Formation.
Okay, I have no further questions for Mr. Lucero. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none, you may call your next witness.
All right, Samuel, let's look at E1. Can you describe for us how you would develop this overlapping 5120?
Yep, Exhibit E1 shows the proposed development diagram for the 5120 acre DSU. The well will be drilled from the south, from the bottom left corner of section 33. That's where the pad will be located. Well will be drilled on the lease line corridor. Estimated IP is first quarter of 2028, and the target is the Middle Bakken.
Okay. And then looking at E2, how would you drill and complete the well?
Similar to the first exhibit, this is a 20,000 foot lateral wellbore schematic. Price of 4 drill string design, conductor, surface casing, intermediate casing, and the production liner. Again, it's a cemented liner and plug and perf completion, targeting 167 foot per stage.
Then looking at E3, can you summarize the reservoir data for us?
Sure. Exhibit E3 shows reservoir data of the spacing unit, 5120 acres. Recovery factor estimate around 1 to 2%. GOR also showing climb from first 24 months while on ESP and then flattening out thereafter. And EUR is 700,000 barrels of oil.
And finally, E4, what would the economics look like for the well?
Exhibit E4 shows the well economics for this well. Estimated recovery is 700,000 barrels of oil with an initial investment of $12.2 million, running this at a price deck of $60 oil flat and $3.25 gas. Yields 33% on the project and a net present value of 10% at $3.41 million. The discounted return on investment is roughly 1.4, and the payout is a little shy of 3 years. Again, midstream gathering will be Kraken Marketing for oil, ONEOK for gas, and Hydro Services LLC for water.
Okay, and Samuel, in your opinion, would establishment of this 5120 to allow for that development protect crowd of rights, prevent waste, prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. I offer the engineering exhibits, and we'll follow up with the filing of the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. We'll keep the record open for an additional day. Any questions from staff? All right, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32823. Next on the docket is case number 32826. This is an application of Hess Bakken Investments 2 LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Ray Bakken pool to establish an overlapping stand-up 3840 acre spacing unit described as sections 2, 3, 10, 11, 14, and 15 in Township 157 North, Range 97 West in Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize one horizontal well to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Hess Bakken Investments 2 LLC. I have 3 witnesses appearing in this case. It will be John DeWitt, Aaron Rodriguez, and Matthew Dupree.
Okay, are they? I see a group of people on the screen. Are they all present in the room?
Yeah, I believe they all are. I think I saw them all.
Yep. Yes. Yep. Guess we can swear them all at the same time. Could you all raise your right hand? Mr. DeWitt, Rodriguez, and Dupree, could you raise your right hand, please? I do solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief.
I do.
All right, counsel, you may call your first witness.
Okay. John, let's, or first, I guess, we should have you state your name and tell us by whom you're employed and in what capacity, and give us your business address.
Yes, my name is John DeWitt. I'm employed as a land representative by Chevron, conducting business as Hess Corporation. The business address is 1500 Louisiana Street, Houston, Texas, 77002.
And John, have you previously testified before this commission?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
I have.
And are you familiar with the land matters that are associated with the proposed spacing unit?
I am.
I'd move the testimony of Mr. DeWitt be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
All right, John, now let's look at exhibit number 1. If I could have you identify the spacing unit for us.
Yes, exhibit number 1 is a location map depicting Township 157 North, Range 97 West in Williams County. The blue outlines represent the 4 existing 1280 DSUs, sections 2 and 11, 3 and 10, 14 and 23, and 15 and 22. The red outlines represent the 2 existing approved 1920 DSUs, being sections 2, 11, and 14, and 3, 10, and 15. And the green dash outline represents the requested overlapping 3840 DSU, being sections 2, 3, 10, 11, 14, and 15. That's all.
And then, John, let's look at exhibit number 2. And what's your working interest in that overlapping 3840?
Yep. Exhibit 2 is the land plat showing the proposed 3840 spacing request on the black dashed outline. In blue is the Hess operated Reed DSU, where our working interest is 72.19%, the remaining owners with 27.81%. In yellow is the Hess operated Quality DSU, where Hess's working interest is 67.62%, and the remaining owners with 32.38%. In green is the Hess operated Johnson DSU, where Hess's working interest is 60.54%. And the remaining owners with 39.46%. In orange is the Hess-operated Overbow DSU, where Hess's working interest is 40.93%, the remaining owners with 59.07%. And the combined working interest of the proposed Go Everett LE 15797-0315 DSU will be Hess with 63.51%, and the remaining owners with 36.49%.
Okay. I have no further questions for Mr. DeWitt. I would offer exhibits 1 and 2.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none, you may call your next witness.
All right, next witness is Aaron Rodriguez. And Aaron,
Yes.
can I have you state your name for the record, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
My name is Aaron Rodriguez. I'm employed as a geologist by Chevron USA Inc., which conducts business under Hess Corporation. The business address is 1500 Louisiana Street, Houston, Texas, 77002.
And Aaron, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the geology underlying the proposed spacing units?
Yes.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Rodriguez be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Aaron, let's look at exhibit number 3, and if you could describe the structure for us underlying the spacing unit.
Exhibit number 3 shows the location of the existing 1280 DSU outlines in solid blue, the requested 1920 DSU outlines in solid red, and the requested 3840 DSU in dashed green with the existing wells marked. Top Middle Bakken structure map is displayed in true vertical depth subsea with 50-foot contour intervals, illustrating a southwest dip of the formation within the area of interest. The line A to A prime indicates the well locations used to construct the cross section is going to be shown in exhibit number 4.
All right, let's move on to exhibit number 4. Can you walk us through your cross section?
Exhibit number 4 is a stratigraphic cross section flattened on the top of the Bakken, showing that the targeted formations are present and continuous throughout the region.
Okay, I have no further questions for Mr. Rodriguez. I'd offer exhibits 3 and 4.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call your next witness.
All right, Matthew Dupree is the next witness. Matthew, can I have you state your name for the record, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address.
My name is Matthew Dupree. I'm employed as a reservoir engineer by Chevron USA, which conducts business under Hess Bakken Investments 2 LLC. Business address is 1500 Louisiana Street, Houston, Texas, 77002.
And Matthew, you've previously testified before the commission?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the the engineering matters that are associated with these proposed spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Dupree be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Matthew, let's look at exhibit number 5. Can you walk us through how you would develop the overlapping 3840?
Yeah, so Exhibit 5 shows the proposed 3840 development for sections 3, 10, and 15, and 2, 11, and 14. The highlighted dash green line shows the proposed 3-mile lease line well to be drilled from the pad location denoted in blue, and shows well sticks with approved spacing denoted as dotted blue lines.
Okay. And then let's move on to exhibit number 6. Then can you summarize the reservoir data and then the economics as well?
Yeah, so Exhibit 6 shows the reservoir and economic summary for a 3-mile Middle Bakken well in the Ray field. The expected EUR for these wells is around 820,000 barrels with a recovery factor of 4.3%. Economics were run at $62 per barrel WTI flat and 100% working interest, with an expected NPV of 14.3 million and a rate of return of 50%.
And Matthew, in your opinion, if the commission approves this 3840 to allow for development of that lease line corridor, is that going to prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions that offer exhibits 5 and 6, as well as the gas capture plan affidavit for this case.
Exhibits are permitted, as well as the affidavit. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none. Anything else in this case, counsel?
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
All right, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32826. Next on the docket is case number 32827. This is an application of Hess Bakken Investments 2 LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the White Earth, Pleasant Valley, and/or Big Butte Bakken pools in Montreal County, North Dakota, to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560-acre spacing unit described as sections 16, 21, 28, 33 in Township 157 North, Range 97 West, and authorize 2 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit, and 2, establish an overlapping stand-up 5120-acre spacing unit described as sections 15, 16, 21, 22, 27, 28, 33, and 34 in Township 157 North, Range 94 West, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on such unit, or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Counsel?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, PO Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Hess Bakken Investments 2 LLC. And Mr. Examiner, we'll have a different landman on this case, but the other 2 witnesses will remain the same. And Derek Abrahamson will be the land witness for this case.
All right. Mr. Abrahamson, could you raise your right hand, please? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
All right, counsel.
All right. Derek, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
My name is Derek Abrahamson. I am employed as a land representative by Chevron USA, which conducts business under Hess Bakken Investments 2 LLC. The business address is 1500 Louisiana Street, Houston, Texas 77002.
And Derek, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the land matters associated with the requested spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Abrahamson be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Derek, let's look at exhibit number 1. If I could have you identify the spacing units you're asking for in this case.
Sure thing. Exhibit 1's a location map depicting Township 157 North, Range 94 West in Montreal County. The blue outlines represent 4 existing 1280-acre stand-up DSUs, being sections 16 and 21, 15 and 22, sections 28 and 33, and sections 27 and 34. The green colored dash outline represents the requested overlapping 2560-acre stand-up DSU. That's sections 16, 21, 28, and 33. and the red color dashed outline represents the requested overlapping 5120 acre stand-up DSU, and that contains sections 15, 16, 21, 22, 27, 28, 33, and 34.
Okay. Let's move on to exhibit number 2 then, and take us through your working interest in the 2560 first.
Yep. The land plat shows the proposed 2560 spacing in the black dashed outline. In blue is the Hess operated Ian Fisher. Hess's working interest is 79.36%, and the remaining owners with a 20.64%. In green is the Hess operated Ian Dolan. Hess's working interest is 69.86%, and the remaining owners with 30.14%. And the combined working interest of the stand-up 2560 proposed DSU would leave Hess with 74.61%, and the remaining owners with 25.34%, 39%, sorry.
Sure. Then moving on to exhibit number 3, takes through the working interest in the 5120.
Yep, this is the black dashed outline represents the proposed 5120. In blue is the Hess operated Ian Fisher. Hess has 79.36%, and the remaining owners with 20.64%. In orange is the Hess operated Ian Wiltrust C. Hess's working interest is 96.13%, and the remaining owners with 3.87%. In green is the Hess operated Ian Dolan. Hess working interest is 69.86%, remaining owners with 30.14%. And in purple is the Hess operated Ian Wiltrust A. Hess's working interest is 80.32%, and the remaining owners with 19.68%. And then the combined working interest of the proposed 5120 DSU has 81.42%, and the remaining owners with 18.58%.
Okay, I have no further questions. I offer exhibits 1 through 3.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none, you may call Mr. Rodriguez, and I'll just note for the record that Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Dupree have already been sworn.
Okay. Aaron, let's look at exhibit number 4, and can you describe the structure underlying the spacing units?
Yes, exhibit number 4 shows the location of the existing 1280 DSU outlines in solid blue, the requested 2560 DSU outlines in dashed green, and the requested 5120 DSU outlines in dashed red with the existing wells marked. The top Middle Bakken structure map is displayed in true vertical depth subsea with 50-foot contour intervals, illustrating a southern dip of the formation within the areas of interest. The line A to A prime indicates the well locations used to construct the cross section that is going to be shown in exhibit number 5.
Okay, let's move on to exhibit 5 then. Can you describe what you're showing on that cross section?
Yes, exhibit number 5 is a stratigraphic cross section flattened on the top of the Bakken, showing that the targeted formations are present and continuous throughout the region.
Okay, I have no further questions for Mr. Rodriguez. I'd offer exhibits 4 and 5.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call Mr. Dupree.
All right, Matthew, let's look at exhibit 6, and could you describe for us how you would develop the 2560 as well as that lease line corridor on the 5120?
Yes, sir. So Exhibit 6 shows the proposed 2560 and 5120 development for sections 16, 21, 28, 33, and 15, 22, 27, and 34. The highlighted dashed green line shows the proposed 4-mile wells to be drilled from the pad location denoted in blue.
And then moving on to exhibit 7, can you walk us through the reservoir data and then the economics for the wells?
Yes, so Exhibit 7 shows the reservoir and economic summary for a single 4-mile Middle Bakken well in the White Earth, Pleasant Valley, and Big Butte fields. The expected EUR is around 950,000 barrels. With a 3% recovery factor, economics will run at $60 per barrel WTI, 100% working interest. The expected NPV is 21.8 million with a rate of return of 100%.
And Matthew, in your opinion, if the commission establishes the spacing to allow for the development you've described, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay, I have no further questions. I offer Exhibit 6, 7, and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted as well as the affidavit. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32827. Next on the docket is case number 32828. This is an application of Devon Energy Williston LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Lake Trenton and/or 6 Mile Bakken pools to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560-acre spacing unit described as sections 16, 21, 28, and 33 in Township 153 North, Range 103 West in Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Examiner. Waitman, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Devon Energy Williston LLC. I'll have 3 witnesses in this case: Jeff Poole, Sarah Jankuska, and Scott Caldwell.
All right, you may call your first witness.
I'm not sure if they're on yet. Let me see. Oh, there we go. Looks like we got him now, Mr. Examiner.
Okay. So, Mr. Poole, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Do you solemnly swear, or could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
All right.
All right. Jeff, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed and in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yeah, Jeff Poole, employed as a land supervisor with Devon Energy, doing business in North Dakota's Devon Energy Williston LLC. Our business address is 333 West Sheridan Avenue, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73102.
And Jeff, have you previously testified before this commission?
Yes, I have.
And have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and are you familiar with the land matters associated with the proposed spacing unit?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Poole be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Jeff, let's look at L1. Can you identify the spacing unit you're asking for today?
Yes, L1 shows a regional locator map, and then the cutout there zooms into the proposed overlapping 2560-acre spacing unit being sections 16, 21, 28, 33 of 153, 103.
And then moving on to L2, can you take us through your working interest in that spacing unit?
Yeah, so L2 is a depiction of the proposed 2560-acre spacing unit, overlapping existing production. Our total working interest in that proposed 2560 is just under 90.5% with the various other entities controlling their remaining working interest there.
Okay, I have no further questions, and I would offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none, you may call your next witness.
All right, Sarah Jankuska.
Good morning.
Ms. Jankuska, could you raise your right hand, please?
Wrong hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
All right. Thank you.
Sarah, can I have you state your name for the record, tell us by whom you're employed and in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yep, my name is Sarah Jankuska. I'm a geologist for Devon Energy, and our address is 333 West Sheridan Ave, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73102.
And Sarah, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the geology underlying the proposed spacing unit?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Ms. Jankuska be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Sarah, let's start with your exhibit G1. Can you describe the structure underlying the spacing unit?
Yep, so this is a structure map of the Middle Bakken. The contour intervals are spaced at 10 feet. We can see in our area we're interested in that we have a gentle dip off to the east. We have surrounding wells are all displayed here, and then highlighted down, kind of down toward the south is our offset type log that we'll see on the next slide.
All right, and let's move to G2. Can you describe what you've shown on your type log?
Yep, so this is that type log. In that first column, we have our gamma ray. In the middle column, we have our resistivity. And then in the right column, we have our porosity logs. We also have our tops for the Middle Bakken down through the Nisku highlighted with their depths on this type log.
Okay, I have no further questions that are for the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none, you may call your next witness.
All right, next witness is Scott Caldwell. And Scott, can I have you state your name for the record? Tell us by whom you're employed, what capacity, and give us your business address.
Yes, my name is Scott Caldwell. I'm a reservoir engineer employed at Devon Energy Williston LLC, located in address is 333 West Sheridan Avenue, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73102.
All right, and Scott, have you previously testified
Let me
before
swear
the
the
commission?
witness first. I don't think that's
Oh, yes.
Mr. Caldwell. Could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
All right.
All right. Scott, well,
You may continue with your line of questioning.
so, and Scott, so have you previously testified before the commission
Yes,
and had your qualifications accepted?
yes,
Okay. And you're familiar with the engineering matters associated with this proposed spacing unit?
yes, I am.
Okay. I'd move the testimony of Mr. Caldwell be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
Okay. And Scott, now let's go ahead and look at E1. How do you develop this 2560?
Okay. Yes, let me walk you through E1. So I'm showing a map view. The red box is the outline of the 2560 spacing unit. I've got the existing producing Middle Bakken wells in solid black lines. So you'll see 3 existing hard scrabble wells inside of the unit. And then I've got producing Three Forks wells and dashed, which we don't really have any close to this area. And then there's some offset wells to the west in green that are another operator drilled Middle Bakken wells. And then our proposed Middle Bakken wells are the blue sticks, which are 4-mile wells where we will plan to have a surface location located in the north side as centered as we can in section 16, drilling the wells to the south, bottom holing in section 33. And we'll have plans to drill 4 of the 20K laterals in this area. And we're currently planned to drill these wells with spuds starting in August of 2027.
Okay. Moving on then to E2, how would you drill and complete these wells?
So what I'm showing here is going to be our typical 20K lateral 3-string Middle Bakken well design. So we'll run in with surface, intermediate, and a cemented liner at 4.5 inch to TD. So we have estimated depths of 2,200 foot for the surface, 10,500 for intermediate, and approximately 31,000 for the measured depth for this 4-mile laterals. And with that, on the completion aspect, we will be completing these with our typical design, which is 1,000 pounds per foot and 24 barrels per foot, which would, on this 20K lateral, would approximately be about 9,900 stages for completion.
Okay. And then let's move to E3, and if you could walk us through what you're showing with respect to the reservoir.
Yes. So based on the reservoir and fluid parameters for the Middle Bakken, with the estimated TVD we showed earlier of around 10,588 feet, we'll have a net pay of 29 feet with a porosity of 6.5% and around a 48% water saturation.
Okay. And then E4, what do the economics look like for the wells?
So the top table, we'll talk about the type curve for this 20K single well with an initial rate of just over 2,200 barrels a day, an initial GOR of 750 SCF per barrel, which will deliver us an EUR on oil of around 894,000 barrels, gas of 1,533 million cubic feet, and 1,425 MBOE per well. On the economic side, we ran these still with our base oil price at 65, gas of 350, a well cost of 10,165,000, operating at $9,300 per well per month, and 100% working, 79% revenue interest, delivering an NPV10 of approximately $7.5 million, rate of return of 60%, that will pay out in 2.52 years.
So, Scott, in your opinion, if the commission approves the 2560 to allow for this development, is that going to prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits in addition to the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits on the plan or the affidavit are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Scott, looking at your E1, I know this is probably a little bit of a cartoon, but do you intend to leave that large gap between your westernmost well and any of the wells drilled to the east?
So, no. I believe we have a, and we're verifying this, but we have an existing 1280 stand-up in 1621, which will allow us to drill a 10K. If not, then we'll be pursuing that. But the plan would be to include a 10K lateral in between the furthest west and the next offset to the east location, kind of lining up north-south, kind of with that hard scrabble 333/28H wellbore.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So just to clarify, the 1280 spacing unit that exists of 16 and 21, you want that left in place?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hearing no further questions from staff. Anything further, council?
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
All right, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32826. I'm sorry, 828. Next on the docket is case number 32830. This is an application of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Squires Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560-acre spacing unit described as sections 1, 12, 13, 24 in Township 155 North, Range 102 West in Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize 3 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, PO Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Oasis Petroleum North America, LLC. I have three witnesses in this case, Taylor Roberts, John Prim, and Eva Tomova Medina. And I think they should all be there.
We're waiting on Eva for 1 second. They're on their way. Sorry.
Oh, just need Eva still? Eva's the engineer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, she'll be last, so I think we can begin if that's okay.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, if you
Right
want
now.
to call your first witness, I'll swear.
Is she here now?
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
So are all your witnesses present?
Yes. Taylor Roberts, John Prim, Eva Tomova Medina, all there now.
Okay, could you all raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you may call your first witness.
Okay. Taylor, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Sure. Taylor Roberts, Senior Staff Landman with Core Energy Corporation, subsidiary Oasis Petroleum North America. Business address 1001 Fannin Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
And Taylor, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, sir.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, sir.
And are you familiar with the land matters associated with the spacing units you'll be testifying to today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'd move the testimony of Mr. Roberts be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Taylor, let's start with L1. Can you identify the 2560 you're asking for in this case?
Sure. L1 is our regional locator map. The red box outlines sections 1, 12, 13, and 24 of Township 155 North, 102 West, Williams County, North Dakota.
And moving on to L2, what's your working interest in that spacing unit?
Sure. Cord has approximately a 74.26% working interest in the requested 2560.
All right. And then L3, the breakdown of the underlying spacing units.
Sure. The green dashed box being sections 1 and 12, Cord has a 65% working interest, and the dashed red box being sections 13 and 24, Cord has an 83.39% working interest.
Okay, I have no further questions for Mr. Roberts. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none, you may call your next witness.
John Prim. John, can I have you state your name for the record? Tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address.
Yes, my name is John Prim. I'm a geologist for Core Energy, parent company of Oasis Petroleum. Business address 1001 Fannin Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
And John, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the geology underlying the spacing units you'll be testifying to today?
I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Prim be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And John, let's start with G1. Can you describe the structure underlying this 2560?
Yep, G1 is an upper Bakken structure map in subsea TVD space with contour intervals of 25 feet, showing that the Bakken formation is dipping off to the southeast, underlying the proposed spacing unit outlined in yellow, with an average depth to the Bakken formation of approximately negative 8350 subsea TVD, underlying that proposed spacing unit.
Okay, let's move on to G2 and take us through the ISOPAC now.
Yep, so this is an isopac of the Middle Bakken member here. It's showing that there's slight thickening off to the northeast, approximately from 36 feet thick in the southwest to approximately 42 in the northeast, or average approximate thickness of 39 feet thick. I should also point out that the type log that will be shown on the next exhibit, the Mortensen 34-24, is located in that southernmost section of the proposed spacing unit, section 24 there.
Okay, and let's move to G3. What are you showing us on the type log?
Yep, so this is a triple combo type log of that Mortensen 3424, showing gamma ray resistivity and density porosity, showing the reservoir parameters underlying the proposed spacing unit.
All right, I have no further questions that offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call your next witness.
Okay. Eva, can I have you state your name for the record, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, sir. My name is Eva Tomova Medina, and I'm a development engineer with Cord Energy. Our business address is 1001 Fanning Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
Eva, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with the spacing units you'll be testifying to today?
Yes, I have.
All right. I'd move the testimony of Ms. Tomova Medina be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Eva, let's start with E1. Can you describe for us how you developed this 2560?
Yes, sir. So in the red box, we're highlighting the 2560 unit that we're proposing. The three lines, or whatever you want to call it, those are the well bores. And then the pad is highlighted with the gray box there on the north side. It's an existing pad that we're planning on expanding. That's it for this one.
All right. Let's move on into E2, and can you take us through the reservoir data and then the economics?
Yes, sir. So here we're expecting well EORs at just under 950 MBO and rate of return of 75%.
Okay. And Eva, the commission approves the 2560. In your opinion, is that going to prevent waste, protect wellhead rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. I have no further questions that offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted, as well as the affidavit. Any questions from staff? All right. Hearing none. Anything else on this case number 32830?
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
All right. That will conclude the hearing for case number 32830. Next on the docket is case number 32832. This is an application of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Gross Venture Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 21, 28, and 33 in Township 160 North, Range 93 West, and Section 4 in Township 159 North, Range 93 West in Burke County, North Dakota, and authorize 3 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Oasis Petroleum North America, LLC. And Mr. Examiner, we're going to have Taylor Roberts and John Prim testify again in this case, but I believe we will have Katie Neighbors testify as the engineer.
All right. Mr. Roberts and Prim, you remain under oath, and Council, you may call your first witness.
Taylor, let's look at L1, if I can have you identify the spacing unit you're requesting here.
Sure. Exhibit L1, regional locator map, being sections 21, 28, 33 of 160 North, 93 West, and section 4 of 159 North, 93 West, Burke County, North Dakota, outlined by that red box there on Exhibit L1.
Okay, and then moving to L2, what's the working interest in that spacing unit?
Sure. Ford has a 71.48% working interest in the requested 2560.
And then on L3, the breakdown, the underlying spacing units?
Sure. In sections 21 and 28, outlined by the blue dash box, Court has a 56.39% working interest. In sections 33, I'm sorry, forgive me. In sections 21 and 28, Court has a 86.56% working interest. In section 33 of 160.93 and 4 of 159.93, Court has a 56.39% working interest, which is outlined by the green box.
Okay. And I have no further questions on off the line exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none, you may call your next witness.
All right, John, let's look at G1 and describe the structure underlying this spacing unit.
Yep, so G1 is Upper Bakken structure map again, contour intervals of 25 feet, subsea TVD, showing that the Bakken formation is dipping off to the south-southwest across the proposed spacing unit. Average thickness in the proposed spacing unit is negative 6650 subsea TVD.
Then look at G2, take us through the ISOPAC map.
Yep, so G2 is showing a fairly consistent middle Bakken thickness, contour intervals of 2 feet on the map. Fairly consistent thickness across the proposed spacing unit with average of about 57 feet thick for the middle Bakken across this proposed spacing unit. And then also shown there is the LOM 11-22H type log that will be shown next, just to the northeast of the proposed spacing unit.
Okay, and then G3, describe that type log for us.
Yeah, so that's the LOM 11-22H, triple combo, showing the expected reservoir properties underlying that proposed spacing unit that were outlined on the previous two exhibits.
All right, I have no further questions. I would offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call your next witness.
Katie Neighbors.
Miss Neighbors, can you hear me?
Yes.
Could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Katie, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Katie Neighbors. I am a senior development engineer with Chord Energy, parent company of Oasis Petroleum, located at 1001 Fannin Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas, 77002.
And Katie, have you previously testified before the commission?
No, I have not.
Can I have you describe for us your educational background and then also your relevant work experience as an engineer?
Of course. So I have a Bachelor's of Science in Petroleum Engineering from Louisiana State University, 2007. I started my career with Devon Energy, and I now have just over 8 years of industry experience focused on reservoir engineering. I've been with Chord Energy since December 2025 in a contract engineering position, and as of May 5th, as an employee.
And Katie, are you familiar with the engineering matters that are associated with the proposed spacing units you'll be testifying on today?
Yes, sir.
I'd move the testimony of Ms. Neighbors be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Katie, let's look at E1. How would you guys intend to develop this 2560?
So this diagram in the red box shows the 4 sections of interest. We're proposing 3 stand-up 4-mile laterals drilled from south to north from a central pad location.
Okay. And moving on to E2, can you walk us through the reservoir data and then the economics?
Of course. So the top table highlights the reservoir characteristics. For a 4-well lateral, we're proposing EUR of 670,000 barrels. And at an 11.2 million DNC cost, that yields a 39% rate of return.
Okay. So, Kate, in your opinion, if the commission approves this spacing for that development, is that going to prevent waste, protect relevant rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions. Are off the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits and affidavit are admitted. Any questions from staff? Right, hearing none. Anything else, council?
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
That will conclude the hearing for case number 32832. And I need to take a 5-minute break to go off the record. And we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Okay. You guys just want to stay on?
Yep.
All right, we're back on the record. It is 10:32 a.m. on May 27th. Next on the docket is case number 32834. This is an application of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Cottonwood Bakken Pool to establish two overlapping stand-up 1920 acre spacing units described as sections 6, 7, and 18 and sections 19, 30, and 31 in Township 159 North, Range 92 West in Burke County, North Dakota, and to authorize two horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Oasis Petroleum North America, LLC. Same three witnesses in this case as the last one.
All right, thank you, and I'll remind the witnesses that they continue to be under oath, and you may call your first witness.
All right, Taylor, let's look at L1. Can you identify the two spacing units you're requesting here?
Sure. Exhibit L1, regional locator map. The top red dash box being sections 6, 7, and 18 of 159 North, 92 West. And the blue dash box being sections 19, 30, and 31 of 159 North, 92 West.
Okay. And on L2, what's your working interest in those two proposed spacing units?
Sure. In the northern 1920 outlined by the red box, Court has an 86.61% working interest. And in the southern 1920 outlined by the blue dash box, Court has an 81.12% working interest.
Okay. And then L3 takes through the breakdown of the underlying spacing units.
Sure. Going from north to south, section 6 and 7, purple dash box, Court has a 92.83% working interest. Sections 18 and 19, orange dash box, Court has a 59.89% working interest. Sections 30 and 31, green dash box, Court has a 68.76% working interest.
Okay. And that's all the questions I have for Mr. Roberts. Set off for the land exhibits.
Exhibits are permitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none, you may call your next witness.
All right, John, let's look at G1. Can you describe the structure underlying the spacing units?
Yep, so G1 Upper Bakken structure map in subsea TBD, contour intervals of 25 feet, showing the two proposed spacing units. And it's showing that the Bakken formation is dipping off to the southwest across the area. In that northern proposed spacing unit, the average depth to the Bakken is approximately negative 66.75 feet subsea TBD, and in the southern proposed spacing unit, it's negative 68.75 on average to the Bakken formation.
Okay. And then looking at the ISOPAC map, can you walk us through that in G2?
Yep, it's showing that the middle Bakken in contour intervals of 2 feet thicknesses. It's showing that the middle Bakken is present across both proposed spacing units. It's thickening off to the northwest with an average thickness of approximately 46 feet thick in the southern unit and approximately 49 feet in the northern unit.
Okay. And then let's look at the type log G3. What are you showing on that exhibit?
Yeah, so this is the type log, the Berenson 11-20H, located just to the east of the proposed spacing units. It's a triple combo log centered over the reservoir interval, showing the proposed or the expected reservoir properties underlying the proposed spacing units.
Okay, I have no further questions. And after the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Right, hearing none, you may call your next witness.
Katie, let's look at E1. Can you walk us through your proposed development on each of these 1920s?
Yes, sir. The two red boxes outline the two 1920s of interest. We are proposing two stand-up 3-mile horizontals in each. All four drilled from a central pad location, all four targeting the middle Bakken.
Okay. And then looking at E2, what can you walk us through the reservoir data and the economics?
Of course, the top table highlights the reservoir characteristics of the area. For each 3-mile location, we're estimating 515,000 barrel of oil recovery. and at an investment point of $8.4 million, that yields a 46% rate of return.
And Katie, in your opinion, if the two 1920s are approved for this development, is that going to prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have no further questions. That offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits and the affidavit are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Katie, looking at your E1, does this represent the full development of the lands in the spacing units you're proposing here?
So yes, so this is consistent with our current view on spacing in the area.
So, I guess with your current spacing, what's your like idealized interwell distance? I'm talking in a hypothetical. I mean, what I'm looking at is up in section 6, you're going to end up with one lateral on the entire east half of 6 and 7.
Yes, we believe this will effectively drain that portion of the reservoir, and it's consistent with the spacing we had approved in case 32572.
And you don't anticipate drilling anything else on 1,280 acre basis?
Not at this time, but we all are currently learning and adapting based on tests in the area, and we would apply in the future for an additional location if we deemed it necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions from staff? Hearing none. Anything else, council?
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
Would anyone like to make public comment on case number 32834? All right, hearing none. That will conclude the hearing for case number 32834. Next on the docket is case number 32836. This is an application of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Cottonwood Bakken Pool in Burke County, North Dakota, to establish two overlapping laydown 1920 acre spacing units described as sections 10, 11, and 12, and sections 13, 14, and 15 in Township 160 North, Range 92 West, and authorize 3 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit. 2, establish an overlapping stand-up 1920 acre spacing unit described as sections 4, 9, and 16 in Township 160 North, Range 92 West, and authorize 3 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit, or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, PO Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC. And Mr. Examiner, again, same 3 witnesses for this case: Taylor Roberts, John Prim, and Katie Neighbors.
All right, I'll just remind the witnesses that they continue to be under oath, and you may call your first witness.
All right, Taylor, let's take a look at L1 and identify the spacing units you're asking for here.
Sure. Exhibit L1 is our regional locator map outlining the 3 1920 acre spacing units that are being requested, being sections 4, 9, and 16. 13, 14, and 15, and 10, 11, 12 of 160 North, 92 West.
Okay.
Burke County North.
Yep. And then moving on to L2, can you describe your working interest in those proposed 1920s?
Sure. Purple dash box being sections 10, 11, 12, and the blue dash box being sections 13, 14, 15. Court has a 61.61% working interest. And then the green dash box being sections 4, 9, and 16. Court has a 94.62% working interest.
Okay. And then on L3, the breakdown?
Sure. You'll see there in each of the existing 1280 acre spacing units, Court's working interest north of 88% in each of the underlying 1280s.
Okay. And then on L4, Taylor, if you just kind of walk us through how kind of the pieces fit together here with the existing development, kind of your proposed and future development.
Sure. This exhibit here outlines what is currently approved, what's been brought forward, and then what Chord plans to bring forward in the near future. All these cases outside of case 32851, being sections 1, 2, 3, are spacing that would be brought forward by Chord. Case 32851 is to be heard later today, I believe, or tomorrow by a third party.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Looking at Exhibit L4, are you familiar with Oasis's development plans to the north of this area? And in particular, I'm looking at sections 23, 26, and 35. And that's going to be 160, 192. It looks like Oasis is the operator of 26 and 35. Just curious if you knew further development plans for that area.
Sure. For those three sections you just mentioned, sections 23, 26, 35, plan to bring that forward before the commission. That was originally brought forward a couple months back, just be spaced, including section 4 of this township. But that case was denied, so we respaced that from a 2560 to a 1920 acre spacing unit.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any additional questions? I hear none. We make call your next witness.
All right, John, let's look at G1 and describe the structure underlying these proposed spacing units.
Yep, so G1 is showing the Upper Bakken structure in subsea DVD space, 25-foot contour intervals, showing that the Bakken formation is dipping off to the southwest. Approximate thickness on those eastern two sections, or eastern two units, of negative 6150 subsea DVD and approximately negative 6200 in that western proposed unit there.
Okay, and then moving on to G2, take us through the ISOPAC map.
Yeah, so G2 is middle Bakken thickness in 2 feet contour intervals. It's showing that in those eastern two units, approximate thickness of 44 feet for the middle Bakken, and then that western one, approximately 46 feet thick.
Okay, and then on G3, what are you showing on the type log here?
G3 is our type log, the Mariner 1PH. It's approximately 3 miles to the east of proposed spacing units. This is a triple combo log, highlighting the reservoir properties we expect to encounter underlying the proposed spacing units.
Okay, I have no further questions. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call your next witness.
All right, Katie, can I have you look at E1, and then if you would walk us through how you intend to develop each of these 1920s?
Yes, sir. The red boxes outline the 1920s of interest. We're proposing three 3-mile stand-ups in sections 4, 9, and 16, drilled from south to north. In sections 10, 11, and 12, we're proposing 3 3-mile units drilled from west to east, and same with sections 13, 14, and 15, 3 laterals drilled from west to east. And it is worth noting that in the blue box, our plans are to develop this as a 2560, and we will likely be bringing this to the docket in July.
Okay. Let's move on to E2 then. Can you walk us through the reservoir data and economics here?
Yes, sir. The top table highlights the reservoir characteristics of these units. And for each 3-mile location, we're projecting they will recover 405,000 barrels. And at an 8.4 million DNC cost, this yields a 30% rate of return.
And Katie, in your opinion, if this spacing gets approved, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits and the affidavit are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none. Anything else, council?
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
Anyone else wish to make comment on this case? Hearing none, nothing. That will conclude the hearing for case number 32836. Next on the docket is case number 32837. This is an application of Whiting Oil and Gas Corporation for an order amending the applicable orders for the Foreman Butte Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping stand-up 5120 acre spacing unit described as sections 4, 5, 8, 9, 16, 17, 20, and 21 in Township 150 North, Range 102 West in McKenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize one horizontal well to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, PO Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Whiting Oil and Gas Corp. And going to have a couple new witnesses here, Mr. Examiner. Greg Sandberg is going to testify on land. We'll have John Prim again, and then I believe Caitlin McNeely, engineering.
All right, you may call your first witness, and if it's Mr. Sandberg, then I will swear the witness.
Okay. Call Greg Sandberg.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sandberg, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Greg, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Greg Sandberg, Whiting Oil and Gas, subsidiary of Cord Energy. I am a landman. The address is 1001 Fannin, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
And Greg, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, they were.
Okay. And are you familiar with the land matters associated with the spacing units you'll be testifying on today?
Yes, I am.
All right, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Sandberg be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Greg, let's look at L1. Can you identify the spacing unit you're requesting?
Absolutely. L1's locator map showing Township 150 North, Range 102 West, sections 4, 5, 8, 9, 16, 17, 20, and 21.
Okay. And then looking at L2, can you take us through the working interest?
Yep. So L2, so I'm showing the underlying 2560s here. On the west side there in the red box is about a 61% working interest. On the east side there, the 2560 stand-ups about 99%. The section line corridor through there would have about an 80% working interest.
Okay. I have no further questions that offer the line exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call Mr. Prim. Mr. Prim, I just remind you, you're continue to be under oath.
Yep.
Okay, John. Let's look at G1. Describe the structure underlying this spacing unit.
Yep. So G1 upper Bakken structure map with 25-foot contour intervals and subsea TBD. It's showing that the Bakken formation is gently dipping off to the east. For that overlapping spacing unit proposed there, it has an average depth to the Bakken of approximately negative 8540 subsea TBD.
And then G2, how about the isopack?
Yep, so this is a middle Bakken isopack, 2-foot contour intervals showing a slight thickening to the northeast from approximately 24 to 26 feet thick for an average approximate thickness of 25 feet thick in the proposed spacing unit.
Okay. And then on the type log G3, what are we showing here?
Yep, so G3 is the Alexander 3-7. It's located just to the east of the proposed spacing unit. It's showing a triple combo log of that well, highlighting the reservoir properties we expect to encounter in the subsurface underlying that proposed spacing unit.
Okay, I have no further questions that offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff?
I have a question for the land witness.
Yep.
So looking at the 5120, it looks like it overlaps two existing 2560 lease line spacing units. Are we okay to terminate those?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, you may call your next witness.
Caitlin McNeely.
Ms. McNeely, could you raise your right hand, please? And do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Thank you.
Caitlin, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yep, my name is Caitlin McNeely. I'm a development engineer employed by Whiting Oil and Gas, a subsidiary of Port Energy, and I'm located at 1001 Fannin Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
And Caitlin, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
I have.
And are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with the spacing units you'll be testifying to?
Yes.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Ms. McNeely be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Caitlin, let's look at E1 and describe how you developed this overlapping spacing unit.
Sure. So outlined in yellow is the full 5120 acre unit with the proposed middle Bakken section line shown in black down the middle, covering sections 5, 8, 17, 20, 21, 16, 9, and 4 in 15102. We plan to drill north to south from an off-lease existing pad there in section 32. Our plan is to drill both units from the same rig. That eastern unit will go first with a planned spud in July, and then that western unit will directly follow, including this proposed section line well. The fracs will also be back to back. And because of this tight timing, we're kindly requesting expedited approval for this spacing if possible.
Okay. Let's look at E2 then. Walk us through the reservoir data and then the economics.
So the reservoir parameters here fall within the expected range for Middle Bakken development in this area. And as for the recovery and economics, this single section line well is expected to recover about 769 MBO with an investment about 10.8 million and a rate of return of 61%.
And Caitlin, in your opinion, if this spacing is approved for the development of that corridor, is that going to prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay, I have no further questions. I offer the engineering exhibits and gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits and affidavit are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none. Anything else, Council?
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
All right, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32837. Next on the docket is case number 32838. This is an application of Whiting Oil and Gas Corporation for an order amending the applicable orders for the Assiniboine, Door, Harding, Cartwright, and our Nelson Bridge Bakken pools in McKenzie County, North Dakota to 1. Establish an overlapping laydown 1920 acre spacing unit described as sections 34, 35, and 36 in Township 151 North, Range 104 West, and authorize 3 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit. 2. Establish 2 overlapping laydown 38-40 acre spacing units described as sections 25, 26, 27, 34, 35, and 36 in Township 151 North, Range 104 West, and sections 34, 35, and 36 in Township 151 North, Range 104 West, and sections 1, 2, and 3 in Township 150 North, Range 104 West, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on each such unit, or 3 granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Whiting Oil and Gas Corp. We'll have Greg Sandberg and John Prim again, but I believe Tyler Smith will be testifying as to engineering in this case.
All right. I'll just remind Mr. Sandberg and Mr. Prim that you continue to be under oath, and I'll swear at Mr. Smith when you call him.
All right. Greg, can I have you take a look at Exhibit L1 and identify the requested spacing units here?
Yeah, absolutely. Exhibit L1 is a locator map. That outline there in red is the base unit that we're attempting to space, 151-104, sections 34, 35, and 36. And then there is a requested north section line and south section line of that same unit.
Right. And then moving to L2, what's the working interest in each of those?
Absolutely. So dropping that base unit of sections 34, 35, and 36, again on the red outline, it's about 74% working interest. That north section line of sections 25, 26, 27, 34, 35, and 36 is about 71%. And that south section line is 72.7%. I will note that sections 33 and 34 are already spaced and pooled. Laydown 1280, our engineering witness will address what we're going to do with section 33 there upcoming.
Sure. I have no further questions then. I'd offer the line exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call Mr. Prim.
All right, John. Let's look at G1. Describe the structure underlying these spacing units.
Yep, so upper Bakken structure map again, contour intervals of 25 feet sub-CTVD, showing that the pocket formation is gently dipping off to the east, underlying the proposed spacing units. Approximate average depth to the Bakken formation is negative 84, 35 feet sub-CTVD, underlying these proposed spacing units.
Okay. And let's move on to G2. Take us through the ISOPAC map.
Yep, so G2, middle Bakken isopack with contour intervals of 2 feet thicknesses. It's showing that the middle Bakken is thickening off to the northeast with an approximate average thickness across both spacing units of 26 feet thick.
And G3, walk us through the type log.
Yep, so G3 is our type log, the Hart Transco shade 25-1. It's in section 25 of the proposed spacing units in the northeast there. It's a triple combo log centered over the reservoir interval, highlighting the expected reservoir properties underlying those proposed spacing units.
Okay. I have no further questions. I would offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none. Mr. Smith, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you raise your right hand, please?
Yep.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Thank you.
Tyler, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yep, Tyler Smith. I'm a development engineer for Cord Energy, the parent company of Whiting Oasis, or Whiting Oil and Gas. Cord's headquarters are at 1001 Fannin Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
And Tyler, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with the spacing units you'll be testifying on today?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I move the testimony of Mr. Smith be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Tyler, let's look at E1. How would you develop the 1920 as well as each of the 3840s?
Yeah, so E1 shows Whiting's plans to develop 3 3-mile Bakken wells, which pertain to that 1920. 1 northern section 9 well, again, 3-mile Bakken well that pertains to the northern 3840. And then 1 southern section 9 3-mile Bakken well, which pertains to the southern 3840 acre unit. All the wells will be drilled from east to west from an existing pad location.
Okay. And then moving on to E2, can you kind of walk us through that map and kind of describe how this fits with all the surrounding development?
Yep. So E2 shows Whiting's plans to space the entire unit of 151-104. As you can see, there are 3 4-mile stand-up spacing units to be brought in the oncoming months, and then as well as a lay-down 2.5-mile spacing unit on the north there on 7, 8, and 9. And that kind of coincides with what Greg mentioned earlier with sections 33 and 34 with the existing 2 mile laydown well.
Sure. Then moving on to E3, take us through the reservoir data and then the economics for these.
Yep, so E3 displays reservoir and economic properties on a per well basis for this planned development. The top table displays the reservoir properties used in the analysis. Focusing attention on the middle table, you can see that the OOIP was determined to be 3.9 million barrels per 640 and yielding an EUR of 627 MBO per well. Table on the bottom reflects the capital investment of $8.3 million with a rate of return of 88%.
And Tyler, in your opinion, if the commission approves the spacing to allow this development, is that going to prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits in the affidavit are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Tyler, looking at your E2, your kind of overall development scenario.
Yep.
Is there a reason you're choosing to put the 1,600 acre or short 3 mile lateral on the north end of that block of lands on 7, 8, and 9 instead of doing it in 31, 32, and 33?
The town of Fairview on that bottom, on that west side, makes it tough for a pad location. So we feel more comfortable doing it on 7, 8, and 9 from the north there.
Okay, thank you.
All right, hearing no further questions. Anything else, council? In case number 32838.
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
And that will conclude the hearing for case number 32838. Next on the docket is case number 32839. This is an application of Enerplus Resources Corporation for an order amending the applicable orders for the Murphy Creek Bakken Pool to establish 2 overlapping stand-up 2560-acre spacing units described as sections 29 and 32 in Township 144 North, Range 94 West, and sections 5 and 8 in Township 143 North, Range 94 West, and sections 30 and 31 in Township 144 North, Range 94 West, and sections 6 and 7 in Township 143 North, Range 94 West, in Dunn County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Enerplus Resources USA Corp. 3 witnesses in this case. I believe it will be Chance Crueljack, Land, and then John Prim and Katie Neighbors again.
Excuse me. All right, Mr. Crueljack, are you, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you.
Chance, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Chance Crueljack. I'm employed by Cord Energy. Enerplus Resources USA Corp is a subsidiary of Cord Energy, and the address is 1001 Fannin Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002, and I'm employed as a land operations manager.
And Chance, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
And have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the land matters associated with the spacing units you'll be testifying to today?
Yes.
I'd move the testimony of Mr. Crueljack be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Chance, let's look at L1. Can you identify the spacing units you're requesting in this case?
Yeah, Exhibit L1 is a regional locator map focused in on Dunn County, and it shows the two requested 2560 acre spacing units in red and blue outlines. In red, we have sections 29 and 32 of 144-94 West and 5 and 8 of 143 North, 94 West. And in blue, we have sections 30 and 31 of 144 North, 94 West, and sections 6 and 7 of 143 North, 94 West.
Okay. And looking at L2, what's your working interest in this 2560?
Yeah, in Exhibit L2, our working interest in the first requested 2560 is 84%.
Okay. And then on L3, the other 2560.
In Exhibit L3, our working interest in the second requested 2560 is 76%.
And then L4, the breakdown, those underlying spacing units.
Yeah, Exhibit L4 is a map of the underlying existing spacing units. First one in the yellow dash line covers sections 29 and 32. Chord has a 98% working interest. The second one is in the red dash line covering sections 5 and 8. Chord has a 70% working interest. The third one in the blue dash line covering sections 30 and 31. Chord has a 75% working interest. And then the final one in the green dash line in sections 6 and 7. Chord has a 77% working interest.
Okay, I have no further questions. I would offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Yeah, 1 second. Okay, if we take a look at Exhibit L1, there's some existing 1920s, the 17, 20, 29, 18, 19, 30, then 31, 6 and 7, and 32, 5 and 8. And it looks like those were initially brought to the commission by Interplus. Are those good to terminate?
Yes, those we'd request that those are terminated, and then those should all be covered by this case and the next case with a new layout pattern.
Okay, thank you.
All right, hearing no further questions, you may call Mr. Prim. I'll just remind Mr. Prim and Ms. Neighbors that they continue to be under oath.
Yep.
All right, John. G1, describe the structure underlying these spacing units.
Yep. So G1 is Upper Bakken structure map. It's subsea TBD, 25-foot contours. It's showing that the Bakken formation is dipping off to the northwest. Approximate average depth to the Bakken formation is negative 81.25 feet. Subsea TBD, underline the proposed spacing units.
Okay. Moving on to G2, the ISOPAC map.
Yep, the ISOPAC of the Middle Bakken in 2 feet contour intervals. It's showing that there is a slight thickening off to the north with an approximate average thickness across both proposed spacing units of 31 feet thick.
Okay, and then on G3, take us through that type log.
Yep, G3 is our type log, the Wallace 7-1H. It's located in section 7 of the western proposed spacing unit. And it's a triple combo log highlighting the reservoir properties we expect to encounter underlying both these proposed spacing units.
Okay, I have no further questions after the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none, you may call your next witness.
All right, Katie, let's look at E1. How would you develop these two spacing units?
Yes, sir. So the red boxes outline the two 2560s of interest. We're proposing 4 4-mile horizontals in each DSU, each drilled from centrally located pads from the north to the south, all targeting the Middle Bakken.
Okay, and then looking at E2, take us through the reservoir data and economics.
Of course. So the top table highlights the reservoir characteristics in these sections. And for 4 mile recovery, we're projecting 636,000 barrels. With a $10.3 million investment, this yields a 43% rate of return.
And Katie, in your opinion, if the spacing units get approved for that development, is that going to prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have no further questions that offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits and affidavit are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing no questions. Anything else, council?
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
All right, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32839. Next case on the docket is case number 32840. This is an application of Interplus Resources Corporation for an order amending the applicable orders for the Murphy Creek Bakken Pool to establish 2 overlapping laydown 2560-acre spacing units described as sections 13 Township 144 North, Range 95 West, and sections 16, 17, and 18 in Township 144 North, Range 94 West, and Section 24 in Township 144 North, Range 95 West, and Sections 19, 20, and 21 in Township 144 North, Range 94 West in Dunn County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, PO Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Interplus Resources USA Corp. And seeing 3 witnesses in this case.
All right. I'll just remind the witnesses that continue to be under oath, and you may call your first witness.
All right, Chance, let's look at L1. Can you identify the spacing units you're requesting here?
Yeah, Exhibit L1 is a regional locator map focusing on Dunn County, and it shows the 2 requested 2560-acre spacing units in red and blue. In the blue box, we have section 13 and 144, 95 West, and sections 16, 17, and 18 and 144, 94 West. And then in the red box, we have section 24, 144 North, 95 West, and sections 19, 20, and 21 and 144 North, 94 West.
And then L2, describe your working interest in that northern 2560.
Yeah, and the first requested 2560-acre spacing unit, Cord has a 96% working interest.
And then on L3, the other 2560?
Yeah, Exhibit L3 shows the second requested 2560-acre spacing unit, and Cord has a 96% working interest.
And then L4, that breakdown of the underlying spacing units.
Exhibit L4 is a map of the existing underlying spacing units. The first one, the yellow dash box, covers sections 16 and 21. Cord has 100% working interest. The second one in the red dash box covers sections 17 and 20. Cord has a 95% working interest. The third box in the blue dash line covers sections 18 and 19. Cord has a 99% working interest. And then the final box in the green dash line covering sections 13 and 24. Cord has a 92% working interest.
Okay, no further questions that offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Just so that it's also clear for this record, the previously established 1920s of 17, 20, 29, and 18, 19, and 30, those are okay to terminate?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
All right, hearing no further questions, can we call your next witness?
All right, John, looking at G1 here, can you describe the structure underlying these spacing units?
Yep, so Upper Bakken structure map, 25-foot contour intervals and subsea TBD. And showing that the Bakken formation is dipping off to the west with approximate average depth underlying these proposed space units of negative 8,200 feet subsea TBD to the Bakken formation.
And then looking at G2, take us through the ISOPAC map?
Yep, so ISOPAC showing the thickness of the Middle Bakken Formation. Generally consistent thickness across this area, and the average thickness underlying these proposed spacing units of 32 feet thick for the Middle Bakken.
And then moving on to G3 and the type log, what are we showing in this type log?
Yep, so this is our type log, the Larson 13-1H. It's located in section 13 of the northern proposed spacing unit. It's a triple combo log highlighting the reservoir properties underlying both these spacing units.
Okay, I have no further questions. I offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call your next witness.
Okay, Katie, let's look at E1 and describe how you would develop each of these two 2560s.
Yes, of course. So the red boxes outline the two 2560s of interest. We're proposing 4-mile horizontals in each, drilled from the east to the west from centrally located pads, all targeting the Middle Bakken.
Okay, and then looking at E2, just walk us through the reservoir data and the economics.
Yes, so the top table highlights the reservoir characteristics in the sections of interest. For a 4-mile recovery, we're estimating 636,000 barrels. And at a $10.3 million investment, that yields a 43% rate of return.
Okay, and in your opinion, Katie, is that this development going to prevent waste, protect relative rights, prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, sir.
I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits and the affidavit are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none. Unless you have anything further, counsel, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32840.
Thank you.
Next on the docket is case number 32843. This is an application of Interplus Resources USA Corporation for an order amending the applicable orders for the Strandal Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 16, 21, 28, and 33 in Township 157 North, Range 102 West, in Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Interplus Resources USA Corp. And we're going to be back to Taylor Roberts, John Prim, and Eva Tomova Medina on this one.
All right, I'll just remind the witnesses that they continue to be under oath, and you may call your first witness.
All right, Taylor, looking at L1, identify the spacing unit you're requesting here.
Sure. Exhibit L1 is our regional locator map, blue dash or purple dash box outlining sections 16, 21, 28, 33 of 157, 102 West, Williams County, North Dakota.
And then looking at L2, your working interest in that spacing unit?
Sure. Court has a 66.8% working interest in the requested 2560.
And L3, breakdown of the underlying spacing units.
Sure. Sections 16 and 21 outlined by the black box. Court has a 56.41% working interest. Sections 28 and 33 outlined by the yellow box. Court has a 77.19% working interest.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call your next witness.
John, let's look at G1 and describe the structure underlying the proposed spacing unit.
Yep, so the proposed spacing unit outlined there in orange with the map underline it showing upper Bakken structure and subsea TVD space contour intervals of 25 feet, showing that the Bakken formation is dipping to the east-south. Average approximate depth to the Bakken formation underlying this proposed spacing unit is negative 78.25 feet. Subsea TVD.
And then G2, the ISOPAC?
Yep, so G2 ISOPAC of the Middle Bakken unit in 2 feet contour intervals. It's showing that the middle Bakken is thickening slightly to the north across the proposed space unit, but with a average approximate thickness of 39 feet thick, underlying this proposed spacing unit.
And then on to G3, the type log.
Yep, so our type log here, the Lonesome Dove 4-19, located approximately 2 miles to the west of the proposed spacing unit. It's showing a triple combo, highlighting the reservoir properties we expect to encounter underlying the proposed spacing unit.
Okay, no further questions on for the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you recall your next witness.
All right, Eva, let's look at E1 and tell us how you developed this spacing unit.
Yeah, so in E1, we're seeing the proposed 2560 highlighted in the red box, and the 4 Middle Bakken wells drilled from the north pad, highlighted with the gray box.
Okay, and moving on to E2, can you take us through the reservoir data and economics?
Yep, we're estimating per well EORs here at 670 MBO per well at an investment of 11.2 million per well, resulting at a rate of return of 43%.
Okay, and Eva, in your opinion, if the spacing is approved, is that going to prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I have no further questions that offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted, and the plan or the affidavit is admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none. Anything else, counsel?
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
So that will conclude the case for the hearing for case number 32843. And we're just going to jump back to case number 32842, so you're going to announce your intended course of action with that case. I know you informed me
sure,
that you wanted to dismiss that, but I just want to read it into the record and then you
sure, yep.
Announce that. So case number 32842 is an application of Enerplus Resources USA Corporation for an order amending the applicable orders for the Otter Bakken pool to establish 4 overlapping stand-up 1920-acre spacing units described as sections 2, 11, and 14, sections 3, 10, and 15, sections 22, 27, and 34, and sections 23, 26, and 35 in Township 157 North, Range 101 West, in Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize 3 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, PO Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Enerplus Resources USA Corp. And Mr. Examiner, it's come to my attention that these proposed 1920s are already spaced and allow for, I believe, 5 wells, anyway, a sufficient number of wells for Enerplus's proposed development plans. So that being the case, we would dismiss this case.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from staff on this? All right, we will grant the relief you request and dismiss case number 32842, and that will conclude the hearing for case number 32842. Now, next on the docket is case number 32846. This is an application of White Rock Oil and Gas LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Bicycle Creek Bakken Pool in McKenzie County, North Dakota, to 1, extend the field outline to include all of sections 14, 15, 22, and 23 within the Bicycle Creek Bakken Pool, and 2, establish 2 stand-up 2560-acre spacing units described as excuse me, sections 2, 11, 14, and 23, and section 3, 10, 15, and 22 in Township 145 North, Range 99 West, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit, or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, PO Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of White Rock Oil and Gas, LLC. 3 witnesses in this case, Stuart Rowland, Zach Sweeney, and Jacob Hartgroves.
All right. I don't believe I've sworn any of these witnesses today. So, Mr. I see you're all in the same room. I'll just swear you all at the same time. You raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Stuart, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yeah, Stuart Rowland, White Rock Oil and Gas LLC. I'm the senior lane man for White Rock. Business address is 5810 Tennyson Parkway, Suite 500, Plano, Texas 75024.
And Stuart, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have not.
Why don't you go ahead and give us your educational background and then your relevant work experience as a lineman?
Yeah, graduated from the University of Oklahoma with a bachelor's business administration degree, majoring in energy management and finance. I've worked as a petroleum layman for the last 15 years, working across multiple states across the lower 48, and then also have my CPL, Certified Professional Layman designation from the American Association of Petroleum Laymen.
Sure. And Stuart, are you familiar with the land matters associated with the spacing units you'll be testifying to today?
I am.
Okay. I'd move the testimony of Mr. Rowland be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
All right, Stuart, let's start with Exhibit L1. Can you identify the spacing units you're requesting today?
Yeah, there's 2 proposed 2560 acre spacing units. The easternmost is comprised of sections 2, 11, 14, 23. And then the western is section 3, 10, 15, and 22, all in Township 145 North, 99 West in McKenzie County.
Okay. And then let's move on to L2. Can you take us through your working interest in each of those proposed spacing units?
Yeah, and the eastern comprises section 2, 11, 14, and 23. White Rock is showing at 26.18% working interest in that 2560 acre spacing unit, and various others owning 73.82%. And then in the second, which is the western spacing unit of sections 3, 10, 15, and 22, White Rock is showing 34.69%. There is BLM unleased interest in that. That's sections 15 and 22, which is about 50%. And the various others is 15.26%.
Sure. And then, Stuart, will you be working with those other working interest owners with respect to operatorship on these proposed spacing units?
We will.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'm off the line exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Stuart, on your L2, that 50% you're indicating is BLM unleased. Can you identify roughly where that is? Was it all of 15 and 22, or is it?
It's all of 15 and 22, and it's all been nominated as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, hearing no further questions, you may call your next witness.
All right, Zach, can you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Sure. My name is Zach Sweeney. I'm a geologist for White Rock Oil and Gas, located at 5810 Tennyson Parkway, Suite 500, Plano, Texas 75024.
And Zach, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the geology underlying these proposed spacing units?
I am.
All right, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Swaney be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Zach, if I can have you start with your G1 and describe the structure underlying these 2560s.
Sure. Structure under this this area of interest is dipping to the north, kind of northeast, about 50 to 60 feet per mile. It's an Upper Bakken map, 20-foot contour interval, subsea TVD.
Okay. Let's move on to G2 then, if you can take us through what you're showing on the ISOPAC.
Sure. 1 foot contour interval, very consistent thickness of about 26 to 27 feet across the entire area of interest.
And then on G3, you've got a type log. What are you showing us on that?
Yeah, it's a triple combo suite showing the stratigraphy and petrophysical character of the rocks in the area.
Okay. I have no further questions. I would offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call your next witness.
Jacob, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Sure. My name is Jacob Hartgroves. I'm the Vice President of Corporate Development for White Rock Oil and Gas. Our address is 5810 Tennyson Parkway, Suite 500, Plano, Texas 75024.
And Jacob, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
And have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, sir.
And are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with these spacing units?
I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Hartgroves be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Jacob, looking at E1, how do you intend to develop each of these spacing units?
So we intend to drill 4-mile wells in each DSU, starting from north to south.
Okay. Then on E2, how would you drill and complete the wells?
Standard three-string Bakken design with a cemented liner and plug and perf completion.
Okay. And then looking at E3, can you take us through the reservoir data?
Sure. These are the reservoir and fluid properties for the Middle Bakken, which we will be drilling and completing. We expect on a per well basis to recover approximately 740,000 barrels of oil, relating to a recovery factor of 3.1% in the DSU per well.
Okay, and then on E4, can you walk us through the economics for these wells?
Sure. These economics are contemplated at $65 oil deck, which we expect to yield a 40% IRR and a 1.7 ROI and a 2.6 year payout across the 4 wells.
Okay. And Jacob, in your opinion, if the commission approves these 2 spacing units for this development, is that going to protect relative rights, prevent waste, prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't have any further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits. And on this one, too, I am in receipt now of the gas capture plant affidavit, so I'll get that filed by the end of the day. So I don't have it attached.
Okay, any questions from staff?
Looking at Exhibit E1, do you have proposed pad locations?
We don't have them shown in E1, but they would be drilled from north to south. There are 2 existing locations on the north side of these DSUs that would likely be expanded and utilized for these 4 wells in each DSU.
And then what is your proposed spud date?
Well, we've got some work to do on the unleased BLM tracks that Stuart mentioned. We would like to spud them sometime 27, 28.
Thank you.
All right, hearing no additional questions, anything else, council, and we will keep the record open for an additional day so you can submit an affidavit.
No, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Van.
All right, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32846. Next on the docket is case number 32847. This is an application of Petro Hunt LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the West Ambrose Bakken Pool to establish 6 overlapping stand-up 2560-acre spacing units described as sections 27 and 34 in Township 163 North, Range 100 West, and sections 3 and 10 in Township 162 North, Range 100 West, and sections 28 and 33 in Township 163 North, Range 100 West, and sections 4 and 9 in Township 162 North, Range 100 West, sections 15, 22, 27, and 34, sections 16, 21, 28, and 33, sections 17, 20, and 29, and 32, and sections 18, 19, 30, and 31 in Township 162 North, Range 100 West, in Divide County, North Dakota, and authorize 2 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Petro Hunt LLC. 3 witnesses in this case. Mr. Justin Vanderlinden is present in the hearing room. And then we have Dan Carson and Jason Stengel.
All right, you may call your first witness.
All right, Justin Vanderlinden.
Could you raise your right hand, sir? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Justin, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Justin Vanderlinden. I'm employed by Petro Hunt LLC as a landman. Business address is P.O. Box 935, Bismarck, North Dakota 58502.
Okay. And Justin, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the land matters that are associated with these proposed spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'd move the testimony of Mr. Vanderlinden be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Justin, let's look at exhibit number 1. I don't need you to go through each of them at this time, but are these the locations of the 6 2560 acre spacing units you're requesting?
Yes, outlined in blue are showing the 6 DSUs we're applying for.
Okay. Each one, and walk through your working interest on all of them, starting on exhibit number 2.
Exhibit 2 shows sections 27 and 34 of 163-100 and 3 and 10 of 162-100. Petro Hunt has an approximate working interest of 75.87%.
Okay. And exhibit 3?
This shows the sections 28 and 33 of 163-100 and sections 4 and 9 of 162-100. Petro Hunt has an approximate working interest of 81.63%.
Okay. And exhibit 4?
This shows sections 15, 22, 27, and 34 in 162-100, and Petro Hunt has an approximate working interest of 43.87%.
Okay. Exhibit 5?
Sections 16, 21, 28, and 33 in 162-100, and Petro Hunt has an approximate working interest of 66.27%.
Exhibit 6?
This shows sections 17, 20, 29, and 32 in 162-100, and Petro Hunt has an approximate working interest of 65.78%.
And exhibit 7?
This one shows sections 18, 19, 30, and 31 in 162-100, and Petro Hunt has an approximate working interest of 51.15%.
Okay. And Justin, there's one where you had just under 50%. Will you work with the other working interest owners with respect to operatorship on that 2560?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. I would offer exhibits 1 through 7.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call your next witness.
All right, Dan Carson.
Mr. Carson, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
All right, thank you.
All right, Dan, can I have you state your name for the record? Tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address.
Sure. My name is Dan Carson. I work for Petra Hunt LLC as a senior geologist. My office is at 617th Street, Suite 2550 South, Denver, Colorado.
And Dan, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
And have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the geology underlying these requested spacing units?
Yes.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Carson be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
All right, Dan, let's look at Exhibit 8, and if you can kind of first describe the structure underlying these spacing units.
Certainly. What we're looking at here is, of course, the West Ambrose field that the previous witness talked about with the 6 units, and underneath that, underlying that, are the contour maps of the Upper Bakken Shale. As you can see, it dips from the north down to the south, going from subsea depths of approximately 5850 to minus 6250.
Okay. And before we move on, I see you've got a type log identified on the map as well. But before we move on to that, can you just kind of walk us through what your proposed development plan is going to look like for each of these spacing units?
Certainly. As you can see, there's been some previous drilling in here on these units, and our intention is to come in here and add 2 new wells per unit, trying our best to keep the spacing correct to access the most resources.
Okay. Let's move on then to the next exhibit, number 9, the type log. Describe for us what you've got shown on that exhibit.
Sure. Here we're looking at the nearest type log we had to these units, just to the south. On the left hand, you're basically looking at your gamma ray track, and then your porosities, and then your resistivities on the far right. You can see we've denoted the lower lodgepole, Upper Bakken Shale, Middle Bakken, Lower Bakken Shale, and the Three Forks. These wells will all be placed within the Middle Bakken, where the average porosity in here is approximately 8%, and thickness in this area is around 68 feet.
Okay. I have no further questions. I would offer exhibits 8 and 9.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Dan, looking at your exhibit 8, I guess bear with me a little bit. So 17 and 20 of whatever the township range is down there. There's no existing well in there, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And I'm assuming based on this, you don't plan to put anything on a 1280 in there?
That's correct. Yeah, we plan for these 2 4-mile laterals to do the job of draining sections 17 and 20.
Okay. And so you partially answered that. My next question, I think, does this, I guess the rest of the spacing that you're depicting, does it represent your full development scenario for these spacing units?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So I see in 17 and 20, you're depicting a deflection of that well to kind of jump over into the kind of middle of the west quarter of the spacing unit, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. There's, as you can see, there are pre-existing wells in here with varying levels of depletion. And so we're kind of walking that rope between hoping to re-stimulate some, but hoping not to waste our energy in a depleted zone.
Okay. So is there any reason you're not doing something similar with kind of deflecting that well, steering around the existing wells up in 27, 34, 3, and 10? What I'm looking at is the northern spacing unit. There is a well on the far west side. You're depicting a well going to the west of that instead of kind of in the center. And then the southern one is like, why not steer around the wells a little bit?
We may, in fact, end up doing that. It's not depicted that way in this particular exhibit, but there is a possibility that we eventually do decide to do that.
Because at a glance, I would say that looks like 27, 34, 3, and 10 need something down the middle.
Yeah, it's going to be something that we discover. As you pointed out a moment ago, sections 17 and 20 are undeveloped. And of course, there will be lease expirations coming up in there. So one of those wells will be the first well we drill in there. And it will be it'll be for a little amount of time before those others get drilled due to infrastructure issues. But point being is that when we drill that first well this year in 17, 20, 29, and 32, we will be able to complete and produce that well, and we will get an idea of how that's going to work in regards to the impact to the offset existing wells. That may change our plans going forward.
Okay. And I guess I'll ask this, 28, 33, 4, and 9, again, you're depicting a well kind of on the west side of the two existing wells. Why there instead of closer to the center?
Oh, yeah, well, if we trying to space them all reasonably or as similarly as possible to each other as we go all the way across. So basically treating the new wells in some situations as if there are no pre-existing wells. Of course, there are pre-existing wells, but we're trying to keep that spacing pretty similar. If we put them on the east side of the pre-existing laterals, then we put the new wells pretty darn close to each other.
Okay. So if that is what you're trying to achieve roughly, what would be that interwell distance between the 4 mile legs roughly be if you were trying to keep them evenly spaced?
But yeah, ideally it should be around 1,700 feet, 17 to 1,800 feet in that vicinity.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You kind of alluded to this. Do you plan to batch drill each of the spacing units, or are you planning to do one well at a time? Can you just kind of walk through that overall development plan?
Sure. As of today, our plan is to drill the easternmost well in the 17, 20, 29, 32 DSU. And then after we see how that works, and once we get our infrastructure in place, our intent would then be to go back to these units and batch drill the rest. Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I should follow that up real quick with the timing on that initial well.
Yeah, if everything goes according to plan, it would be before the end of this year.
And then roughly when you would anticipate the infill?
This is probably not my question to answer, but as near as we know at this point, we would anticipate that would be probably early 2028 for the other ones.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, seeing no additional questions, you may call your next witness.
All right. Jason Stengel is the next witness.
All right, Mr. Stengel, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Thank you.
Jason, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
I'm Jason Stengel. I'm employed by Petrohunt LLC as a senior reservoir engineer. My business address is 2101 Cedar Springs Road, Suite 600, Dallas, Texas 75201.
And Jason, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with these requested spacing units?
I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Stengel be received as that of an expert.
Your motion is granted.
And Jason, so good. Exhibit 10, can you take us through the reservoir data?
Yes, the Exhibit 10 is going to be the reservoir data for this field. The lithology is going to be a dolomite. The bottom hole temperature is 227 degrees Fahrenheit. Oil gravity is 45 degrees API. Gas gravity is 0.9. Initial GOR is going to be 600 standard cubic feet per stock tank barrel. The spacing unit that we're requesting is 2,560 acres. The average thickness of the Middle Bakken in this area is 68 feet with an average porosity of 8% and an average calculated water saturation of 52%. The formation volume factor is 1.42 reservoir barrels, stock tank barrels. The estimated oil in place is going to be 36,721,277,000 barrels. The estimated ultimate recovery for an individual well is 633,000 barrels per well, with an estimated recovery factor per well of 1.72%.
Okay, let's move on to Exhibit 11. What would the economics look like for the wells on these spacing units?
Yes, this is a single well economics for a well for the spacing units we're requesting. The IP for these wells would be about 600 BOP deep, barrels of oil per day, excuse me. Again, the initial GOR is going to be 600 standard cubic feet per stock tank barrel. The estimated ultimate recovery again is 633,000 barrels of oil. Projected well cost is $12,510,506. The lease operating expenses average $17,700 a month. The estimated royalty burden across the DSUs we're asking for is 18%. The NYMEX price, oil price I used was $70 flat. NYMEX gas price that I used was $3 flat. The payout time for these wells is 1.62 years with an ROI of 1.98 to 1 and a rate of return of 34%.
Jason, in your opinion, if the commission approves each of these spacing units to allow for that development, is that going to prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
I have no further questions. I'd offer Exhibits 10, 11, and the gas capture plan affidavit, which is Exhibit 12.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Are any of the new developments using the existing pads?
No, I don't believe so. They're kind of, there might be one or two pads we share, but for the most part, I think we're going to be developing new pads. The intention, if you go along, if you look at Dan's map on Exhibit 8, is to have all of the pads line up along a single, section line to maximize efficiency of infrastructure development.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no further questions, anything else, Mr. Mann?
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
All right, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32847. Next on the docket is case number 32849. This is an application of Petro Hunt LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Little Knife Bakken Pool to establish 12 overlapping stand-up 1920 acre spacing units described as sections 6, 7, and 18, and sections 19, 30, and 31 in Township 144 North, Range 98 West, sections 25 and 36, Township 144 North, Range 98 West, and section 1, Township 143 North, Range 98 West, sections 26 and 35, Township 144 North, Range 98 West, and section 2, Township 143 North, Range 98 West, sections 27 and 34, Township 144 North, Range 98 West, and section 3, Township 143 North, Range 98 West, sections 28 and 33, Township 144 North, Range 98 West, and section 4, Township 143 North, Range 98 West, Sections 29 and 32, Township 144 North, Range 98 West, and Section 5, Township 143 North, Range 98 West. Sections 8, 17, and 20, Sections 9, 16, and 21. Sections 10, 15, and 22, Sections 11, 14, and 23, and Section 12, 13, and 24 in Township 143 North, Range 98 West, in Billings County, North Dakota, and authorize 3 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Petron LLC. The 3 witnesses we'll have in this case will be Mike Dewald, who's present in the hearing room, and then we've got Dutch Cruz and Derek Axelson.
All right, Mr. Dewald, can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Thank you.
Mike, can I have you state your name for the record, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
My name is Mike Dewald. I'm a senior landman with Petro Hunt. Business address is P.O. Box 935 in Bismarck, North Dakota, 58502.
And Mike, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the land matters associated with the proposed spacing units?
Yes.
Move the testimony of Mr. Dewald be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Mike, exhibit number 1, does that depict each of the spacing unit, the 1920s that you're requesting in this case?
Yes. Exhibit 1 is a locator map depicting the 12 1920s we're asking for spacing on today that are in 144.98 and 143.98.
Okay. Let's go ahead and go through your working interest in each of those, starting with the 1920 on Exhibit 2.
Yep, so each of the exhibits are pretty similar. They indicate the working interest breakdown, indicating Petro Hunt's working interest, and our leasehold in yellow. The Exhibit 2 is 144.98, Section 6, 7, 18, and Petro Hunt has a 77% working interest in there.
Okay. Exhibit 3?
Exhibit 3 is 144.98, Sections 19, 30, and 31. Petro Hunt has 78% working interest.
Exhibit 4?
Exhibit 4 is 144.98, Sections 29, 32, 143.98, Section 5, and Petro Hunt has a 92% working interest.
Okay. Exhibit 5?
Exhibit 5 depicts Township 143.98, Sections 8, 17, and 20, with Petro Hunt at a 79% working interest.
Exhibit 6?
Exhibit 6 depicts 144.98, Section 28 and 33, and 143.98, Section 4, with Petro Hunt at a 61% working interest.
Exhibit 7?
Exhibit 7 is 143.98, Sections 9, 16, and 22, with Petro Hunt at a 63% working interest.
Exhibit 8?
Exhibit 8 is 144.98, Sections 27, 34, and 143.98, Section 3, with Petro Hunt at a 49% working interest.
Exhibit 9?
Exhibit 9 would be 143.98, Sections 10, 15, and 22, with Petro Hunt at a 68% working interest.
Exhibit 10?
Exhibit 10 is 144.98, Sections 26, 35, and 143.98, Section 10, with Petro Hunt at a 48% working interest.
Exhibit 11?
Exhibit 11 is 143.98, Sections 11, 14, and 23, with Petro Hunt at a 62% working interest.
Exhibit 12?
Exhibit 12 is 144.98, Sections 25, 36, and 143.98, Section 1, with Petro Hunt at a 53% working interest.
And Exhibit 13?
Exhibit 13 and the last one is 143.98, Sections 12, 13, and 24, and Petro Hunt is at a 30% working interest.
And Mike, I guess particularly with the last one, if there are spacing units where you have like less than a majority, would you work with the other working interest owners with respect to operatorship?
Yes, we would.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer Exhibits 1 through 13.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Mike, so looking at your Exhibit 13, and I suppose it leads back to 12. 1 and 12 are an existing 1280 stand up, and that is operated by Petra Hunt
Yes,
currently.
it is. Yep.
Have you had conversations with the remainder of the owners in 13 and 24 at this point?
Yeah, so with ConocoPhillips, they have the largest single working interest in there at 33%. I did contact them regarding this spacing, and they were fine with it.
Okay. Do you anticipate at this point being the operator of that 1920?
We do. We haven't received any other indications from ConocoPhillips otherwise.
And would you move forward with drilling it with the ownership you're representing here?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, hearing no further questions, you may call your next witness.
All right, Dutch Cruz, next witness.
All right, Mr. Cruz, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dutch, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Dutch Cruz. I'm employed by Petra Hunt LLC. I'm a senior geologist, and my business address is 600 17th Street, Suite 2550 South, Denver, Colorado 80202.
And Dutch, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the geology underlying these spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Cruz be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Dutch, if you can take a look at exhibit number 14, and if you could just start by describing the structure underlying each of the spacing units.
Yeah, so this is an index map depicting the 12 proposed spacing units in red. The structure contours are in black underlined. The top of the Upper Bakken Formation, shown in feet subsea TVD, and 25-foot contours. A gentle dip from the south to the north. And yeah, just showing type log up in the top right of the main block there that I'll show on the next exhibit. And then all the existing wells in addition to the proposed wells within these proposed station units.
Yeah, and just briefly, like before we went on type log, how would you kind of propose, what would your development plan look like for these 1920s?
So we are going to propose wells approximately as depicted here, trying to use a regular spacing. So our ideal spacing is around 1,600 feet between wells. Due to the hard lines on some of the sections, they're not exactly that. Also, due to some existing wells, we may move some of the wells east or west, but approximately as we have laid out in this, or as I've laid out in this image.
Sure.
And I guess I'll add they'll all be targeting the Middle Bakken at this point.
Okay. Let's go ahead then and move on to Exhibit 15, which is your type log. Just kind of walk us through what you're showing here.
Okay, yeah. Exhibit 15 is our type log. This is showing two logs from the same well. So on the left is a porosity log, and on the right is a resistivity log. Both of the left tracks are the gamma ray logs, and then the particular log that I just mentioned on the right tracks of those. This is that LOH 2-25-1B well that I highlighted in the Exhibit 14, showing the lower portion of the lodge pole, the upper and lower shales, the middle Bakken member, and the top of the Three Forks member in this area. This should be pretty typical over the entire development area here. Fairly thin Bakken interval that Derek will get to, an average porosity, I think around 6.5% for the Middle Bakken.
Okay. I have no further questions. I offer Exhibits 14 and 15.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Looking at Exhibit 14, where are your proposed pad locations going to be?
I could take that.
They will be, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Our proposed pad locations, we have 6 pads planned across a corridor on the north part of the sections of 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, with wells going, legs going north and south.
And then, do you guys plan to batch drill all of these spacing units, or what is your kind of overall development plan?
That might be a Derek question, but just as of now, we plan to drill one of the pads right there in the middle to test a few of the wells here towards the end of this year, and then see how those results come back, and then come back and do a full development batch drilling at the end of 27 or in 2028.
Thank you.
All right, hearing no further questions, you may call your next witness.
Next witness is Derek Axelson.
Yes.
Is it Axelson or Ackelson?
Axelson.
Axelson, all right. Could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
All right, Derek, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, I'm Derek Axelson. I work for Petrohunt LLC as a reservoir engineer, and our address is 2101 Cedar Springs Road, Suite 600, and that's Dallas, Texas, 75201.
Okay. And Derek, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
And have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with these requested spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Axelson be received as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
And Derek, if I can have you take a look at exhibit number 16, and if you can kind of walk us through the reservoir data you've shown here.
Sure. So based on the type log that Dutch just showed, our lithology here is a dolomitic siltstone. We estimate the bottom hole temperature to be about 285 degrees Fahrenheit. The oil gravity is 40 degrees API, gas gravity of 0.91. Our initial GOR is 860 scuffs per barrel. The spacing unit for each of these spacing units is 1,920 acres. And based on the type log, our average middle Bakken thickness is 22 feet with an average porosity of 6.5%, with an average water saturation of 32%. The formation volume factor of 1.61 reservoir barrels per stock tank barrels, and that results in a estimated original oil in place of just under 9 million barrels, and we anticipate an estimated ultimate recovery of 525,000 stock tank barrels per well, and that yields an estimated recovery factor on a per well basis of 5.8%.
Okay. Let's move on to exhibit 17 then. Can you walk us through what the economics would look like for the wells in these spacing units?
Yes, so the economics for these wells, based on the reserves we just discussed, we're modeling this with an initial production rate of 733 barrels of oil per day, using that 860 scuffs per barrel GOR. Our estimated EUR is 525,000 barrels. Our projected well cost is about $13.2 million, with an LOE of approximately $20,000 per month. The estimated royalty burden that we used for these economics are 18.75%. We used a $70 flat NYMEX oil price and a $3 NYMEX gas price per standard cubic feet, and that yields a payout time of 3.34 years, a return on investment of 1.68, and a rate of return of 18%.
And Derek, in your opinion, would establishment of these spacing units for that development prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, it would.
And just one more thing, Derek, Dutch touched on kind of the development timing a little bit, but do you know how soon that is? I think are you going to need an expedited order for this case?
Yes, for this case, yes, we will need an expedited order. We plan to drill 3 wells kind of in the center of the pocket of 1920s to the south as an operational test and a reserve test before we're back to drilling in this area, probably a little bit before somewhere around the first quarter of 2028 due to some lease expirations. So we plan to start drilling back in the field late summer, early fall.
Okay. I have no further questions that offer Exhibit 16, 17, and the gas capture plan, which is 18.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none. Unless you have anything further, Council.
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
That will conclude the hearing for case number 32849. Next on the docket is case number 32850. This is an application of Petro Hunt LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Little Knife and their Crooked Creek Bucket Pools to establish 6 overlapping 3840 acre spacing units described as sections 25 and 26 in Township 144 North, Range 98 West, sections 30 and 31, Township 144 North, Range 97 West, section 1, Township 143 North, Range 98 West, and section 6, Township 143 North, Range 97 West, sections 25, 26, 35, and 36, Township 144 North, Range 98 West, and sections 1 and 2, Township 143 North, Range 98 West, sections 28, 29, 32, and 33, Township 144 North, Range 98 West, and sections 4 and 5, Township 143 North, Range 98 West, sections 8, 9, 16, 17, 20, and 21, Township 143 North, Range 98 West, sections 11, 12, 13, 14, 23, and 24, Township 143 North, Range 98 West, and sections 12, 13, and 24 in Township 143 North, Range 98 West, and sections 7, 18, and 19, Township 143 North, Range 97 West, in Billings and Downey counties in North Dakota, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on each such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Petro Hunt LLC. And we'll have seen 3 witnesses in this case as well, Mike Dewald, Dutch Cruz, and Derek Axelson.
All right, I'll just remind the witnesses that they continue to be under oath, and you may call your first witness.
All right, Mike, can we take a look at exhibit number 1? Are these the 3840s we're requesting in this case?
Yes, Exhibit 1 is a locator map depicting the 6 3840s that we are requesting here today in this case.
Okay, and let's go through your working interest in each of those, beginning with the 3840 on Exhibit 2.
Yeah, so each one of these exhibits is the same as the last case, depicting Petro Hunt's working interest with their leasehold in yellow. The first exhibit, Exhibit 2, depicts sections 2932 and section 5 and 2833 and section 4 with Petro Hunt at a 77% working interest.
Okay, Exhibit 3.
And Exhibit 3 depicts 14398 sections 8, 17, and 20 and sections 9, 16, and 21 with Petro Hunt at a 71% working interest.
Exhibit 4.
Exhibit 4 depicts sections 26, 35, and 2 and 25, 36 and section 1 with Petro Hunt at a 50% working interest.
Exhibit 5.
Exhibit 5 is sections 11, 14, 23, 12, 13, and 24 with Petro Hunt at a 46% working interest.
Exhibit 6.
Exhibit 6 shows sections 25, 36, and 1 and 30, 31 in section 6 with Petro Hunt at a 66% working interest.
Exhibit 7.
And the last one, Exhibit 7, depicts sections 12, 13, 24, and 7, 18, and 19 with Petro Hunt at a 24% working interest.
And again, Mike, if there are a couple of these where you wouldn't have over 50%. Would you work with the other working interest owners? I guess probably looks like in particular ConocoPhillips.
Yes, we would.
Okay. I have no further questions. I would offer exhibits 1 through 7.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Right, hearing none, you may call your next witness.
All right. Dutch, can I have you take a look at exhibit number 8 and just kind of start by describing the structure underlying the spacing units?
Yes, similar area to where we were in the last case here. Locator map shows the south end of Little Knife Field with the proposed spacing units in red and green since they overlap a bit on the east side. Underlying structure is the top of the Upper Bakken Shale with contour intervals of 25 feet, showing a slight dip from south to north. This map, again, I show the type log on the north side of these proposed spacing units. It is going to be the same well as was used in the previous case.
Sure.
Yeah, the map shows all the existing wells and our planned lease line wells dashed in black there for the particular spacing units.
Okay. I don't have any further questions for Mr. Cruz on this case, and I would offer Exhibit 8 and then Exhibit 9, the type log that he referenced.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Dutch, bear with me for a second here. Do we have a series of stand-up 1920s that have been established in the general area?
Yes, in the previous case, covers the same area too, so those would cover this area as well.
Okay, I thought we were further south than that. That's like off on the map. That's what I was looking at. Thanks.
All right, hearing no further questions from staff, you may call your next witness.
All right. Derek, let's look at exhibit number 10. I assume this is probably pretty comparable to the last case, but you want to just kind of walk us through the reservoir data?
Sure. Same type log, so same lithology, dolomitic siltstone, same bottom hole temperature, 285, 40 degree API oil. The initial GOR is 860 scuffs per barrel. Primary difference is the spacing units, which are 38, 40 acre spacing units. Same thickness, 22 feet, average porosity 6.5%, 32% water saturation, formation volume factor 1.61. Reservoir barrels per stock tank barrels. So the volumetric original in place is just under 18 million stock tank barrels for that spacing unit. Using the same estimated EUR of 525,000 barrels, that gives right around a 3% estimated recovery factor on a per well basis.
Okay. And then moving on to exhibit 11, I'm assuming probably pretty comparable economics?
Yep, identical to the previous hearing. Using the same IP of 733, GOR of 860 scuffs per barrel. Projected well cost is the same at 3.2 million barrels. Same LOE of 20,000 barrels, $20,000 per month. So using that EUR of 525,000 barrels with our 18.75% NRI, $70 flat oil price, $3 per MCF gas price gives the same payout of 3.3 years. 1.68 ROI and an 18% rate of return.
And Derek, again, I guess consistent with the last case, if these spacing units get approved to develop these lease line corridors, is that going to prevent waste protect relative rights and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, it will.
I have no further questions. I'd offer exhibits 10, 11, and the gas capture plan affidavit, which is exhibit 12.
Exhibits are admitted. Any additional questions from staff?
Will the pad locations for these wells also be along that central corridor?
Yes, they'll be located on the same 6 pads.
Thank you.
All right, hearing no additional questions from staff, the record in this case will be kept open until the next hearings next month, June 24th, due to a publication issue, but that will conclude today's hearing for case number 32850. Next on the docket is case number 32851. This is an application of Heberdev Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Cottonwood Bakken Pool in Burke County, North Dakota to establish one laydown 1920 acre unit described as sections 1, 2, and 3 in Township 160 North, Range 92 West, and authorize up to 8 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit, and 2 for such other relief as may be appropriate. All right, council.
Good afternoon, I'm Matt Crockett, 808 East, South Temple, Salt Lake City, Utah. Appearing on behalf of Heberdev LLC. We have 3 witnesses today. Kevin Darcy will do the land, Matt Billingsley, geology.
Oh, I'm sorry. And Keith Schnetney will do the engineering.
All right, Mr. Darcy, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
All right, thank you. You may proceed.
Kevin, will you please state your full name and by whom you're employed and in what capacity?
Kevin Patrick Darcy. I'm the CEO and founder of Heberdev, and my business address is 558 North Royal Troon Drive, Heber City, Utah, 84032.
Kevin, have you previously testified before this commission as an expert?
No, not in North Dakota.
Could you please briefly go through your educational background and work experience?
Sure. Went to Marian University in Fond du Lac and the University of Oklahoma in Norman, Bachelor's of Business Administration. Started my career with Crescent Point Energy in Williams County and Divide County and then Bodno County. Most of our team was at Crescent Point. Then worked the Uinta with Sage 4 Energy 6 and Finley Resources, and then another Uinta company before founding Heberdev to get back to the Bakken.
Have you testified at any other state commissions?
Utah.
As an expert in
Yes.
land? Okay. In preparation for your testimony today, have you made a thorough examination and review of the land matters in case number 32851?
Yes.
32852?
Yes, prepared all of the land material and was instrumental in the building of this position.
Okay. I would offer that a further testimony of this witness be accepted as that is an expert.
Your offer is accepted.
Thank you. Kevin, could you please take us through the land exhibits?
Yeah. Exhibit 1 is a regional map. We are on the northeast side of the Bakken in Burke County, showing just one 1920 acre DSU here. Exhibit 2 is a closer location map. So we are in 160 North, 92 West, sections 1, 2, and 3. Also, this with the spacing orders that are either in the hopper right now or recently approved, this unit will be completely surrounded by other 1920 units. So this is the last puzzle piece to be put together there. Moving on to Exhibit 3, area spacing. So cord spaced in and around this area most recently, I believe in February. And there was a older order here where it was a 1920 setup as two 960s. So interior drilling 8 wells either way 10 years ago. That was recently rescinded or terminated just kind of as collateral damage as part of that cord spacing. So we are proposing just a standard 1920 acre spacing unit here. Moving on to Exhibit 4, the proposed unit map. So we have a 73.49% working interest. There is 40 acres of BLM that has been nominated that we do not have leased yet, but we are working towards that. And with that, I'll hand it over to Matthew Billingsley with Geology if there's no questions.
I have no further questions.
Any questions from staff? Do you intend to move the exhibits after all your testimony has been?
I do. Exhibits 1. I move to offer exhibits 1 through 4.
Okay, those exhibits are admitted. Hearing no questions from staff, I'm going to call your next witness.
Matt, could you please give us your full name, by whom you're employed, and in what capacity?
Matthew Billingsley. I'm employed by BOG Consulting LLC, working on behalf of Heberdev Operating LLC, and I'm a geologist.
What's your business?
I'll just swear the witness.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Actually, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Okay.
And my business address is 2212 Rollingwood Drive, Fort Collins, Colorado. Fort Collins, Colorado 80525.
Have you previously testified before this commission as an expert in geologic matters?
Yes, I have.
Were your qualifications accepted as an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the geology related to these spacing units?
I am.
I move to have this witness's testimony accepted as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
Could you please take us through the geologic exhibits, please?
Yes. Exhibit 5 is a structure map, subsea TVD on the top of the Middle Bakken. And you can see dip to the south-southwest, regional dip, shallow dipping, as most of the Bakken is. The depiction of a cross-section from A to A prime and the location of the type log just to the south of the proposed spacing unit, sections 1, 2, and 3, and outlined in red. Oh, and the black wells are existing Middle Bakken wells, and the red are existing Three Forks.
Okay. Exhibit 6?
Exhibit 6 is the cross-section from A to A prime, showing the presence of the upper, middle, and lower Bakken, as well as the upper Three Forks bench. The type log is on the right, just to the south of the proposed spacing unit, and you can see the Middle Bakken and the upper Three Forks targets outlined there. And below are the various reservoir properties for the Middle Bakken and Three Forks. The TVD of the Middle Bakken in this area is around 7,860 feet, an average porosity of 7.7%, average water saturation of 26%, and an average gross thickness of 49 feet. With a BLI of 1.5, it yields 9.2 million barrels per section for the Middle Bakken. And then for the upper Three Forks bench, it's a 50-foot thickness, 29% water saturation, and 8% porosity, and yields a original oil in place of 9.9 million barrels per section.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Any questions from staff? Hearing none, you may call your next witness.
I would move to have exhibits 5 and 6 entered into the record.
Motion's granted.
Thank you. Kevin. Keith, I'm sorry.
And I'll just swear the witness. Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true, correct, to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Okay, proceed.
Could you please state your full name, by whom you're employed, and in what capacity?
Keith Shetney, employed, president and reservoir engineer for Heber Dev Operating LLC. Business address is 558 North Royal Troon Drive, Heber City, Utah, 84032.
Have you previously testified before this commission as an expert in engineering matters?
I have.
I would move to have this witness's testimony accepted as that as a witness.
Motion's granted.
Expert witness. Thank you. Kevin, could you please take us through the Keith, sorry, take us through the engineering exhibits, please.
Yeah, so Exhibit 7 is an example wellbore diagram for 3-mile horizontals with it's a typical 3-string design with 7-inch intermediate and 4.5 cemented liner.
Okay. Exhibit 8.
Exhibit 8 is our proposed unit development for this particular unit in red. Pad location is there in blue on the west side of that 1920 unit. And then the dashed arrows represent proposed Bakken and Three Forks locations. So 8 total, 4 Middle Bakken, 4 Three Forks.
Okay. Exhibit 9.
Exhibit 9 are well economics and reserves for both the Middle Bakken and the Upper Three Forks. So on the Middle Bakken, we have an estimated EUR of 644,000 barrels, running at a $70 price deck and a $9.2 million well cost. It's a 48% IRR and a 22-month payout. And that represents, with a 9.2 million barrels of oil in place, 4 per section, that represents a 9.3 recovery factor in the Middle Bakken. And then in the Three Forks, we have an EUR of 610,000 barrels, again run at $70 oil, $9.2 million 3-mile well cost, with a 42% IRR, 24-month payout. 9.9 million barrels of oil in place per section would imply an 8.2% recovery factor.
Thank you. I have no further questions for this witness.
No questions from staff.
Keith, looking at your Exhibit 8, is it the intent to drill all 8 wells at the same time?
The intent is, I think we're, between this and the other spacing order after this, we plan to either HPP to hold the leases or in one of these units to fully develop or at least run a pretty large spacing test.
Okay, so either fully developed or, so anywhere from one well in the spacing unit to the full development of the spacing unit.
Correct. More than likely, this will be fully developed just because it's probably some of our best reservoir that we've got.
And that does include the Middle Bakken and First Bench Three Forks.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have an estimated spud date?
Yeah, we're currently working on plats and spacing and obviously spacing and SUAs at the moment. Our plan is to start a drilling program here come late August, early September, permits pending and SUAs.
Thank you.
All right, hearing no additional questions.
I would move to have Exhibits 7 through 9 admitted to the record.
Motion is granted, and the gas capture policy.
And the gas capture affidavit, which is Exhibit 10.
Admit that into record. Anything further on this case?
No.
All right, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32851. Next on the docket is case number 32852. This is an application of Heber Dev Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Northeast Foothills Bakken Pool in Burke County, North Dakota, to one terminate 6 stand-up 18-20 acre spacing units described as sections 4 and 9, sections 5 and 8, Sections 16 and 21, Sections 17 and 20, Sections 28 and 33, and Sections 29 and 32 in Township 161 North, Range 91 West. To establish 5 stand-up 1920 acre units described as Sections 3, 10, and 15, Sections 4, 9, and 16, Sections 5, 8, and 17, Section 21, 28, and 33, and Sections 20, 29, and 32 in Township 161 North, Range 91 West, and authorize up to 8 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit and 3 for such other relief as may be appropriate. All right, Council.
Good afternoon, Matt Crockett, 808 East South Temple, Salt Lake City, Utah, appearing on behalf of Heber Dev LLC. We have the same 3 witnesses as in the prior matter: Kevin Darcy, Matt Billingsley, and Keith Shetney.
All right, I'll just remind the witnesses they continue to be under oath, and you may proceed.
Kevin, could you please take us through the land exhibits?
Yeah, Kevin Darcy, CEO and founder. Address is 558 North Royal Troon Drive, Heber City, Utah, 84032. Similar structure to the last presentation. Exhibit 1 is a regional locator map showing the 5 units in the northeast of the Bakken in Burke County. Exhibit 2 is a zoomed in location map showing the 5 units here. Moving on to Exhibit 3, area spacing. So historically, in 2020, Petro Harvester had originally spaced 6 total 1920s, 3 and 3. So 4 of the units that we are now respacing were formerly 3-milers. Cornerstone came in after that company went defunct or sold in 2022-ish and resubmitted these as 1920s with 1 mile per. They have since lost the majority of that acreage that they had there just through expirations and have not been pursuing development in the area. And that's more or less how we were able to get our entry into this area. So we are proposing to terminate those 6 1280s where they no longer have a material interest and to come back over the top with 4 of the original 1920s plus 1 new 1920 in the area. Moving on to Exhibit 4, which is our proposed unit map. We have the DSU IDs here for simplicity, which will correlate just through the number, the hash number. So in DSU number 3, we have a 67.45% working interest. In DSU 4, 65.27. DSU number 6, we have 60.34%. DSU 7, we have 52.77%, and DSU 8, we have 54.12%. And we're still currently topping up those units to get that higher, but over 50% in each.
Thank you, Kevin.
Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none.
I would move to have exhibits 1 through 4 admitted to the record.
Exhibits are admitted into the record. Declare next witness.
Matt, can you take us through your exhibits, please?
Yes, Exhibit 5 is the subsea structure map on the top of the Middle Bakken, showing dip to the south-southwest. The location of the 5 proposed 1920 acre spacing units in red, and then the depiction of the cross-section from A to A prime, with the type log being just to the west of the proposed spacing units.
Okay, Exhibit 6.
Exhibit 6 is the cross-section from A to A prime, with the type log on the right, showing the presence and thickness of the upper, middle, lower Bakken, as well as the first bench of the Three Forks, and the proposed targets in the Middle Bakken and Three Forks. Below there is the reservoir properties for the Middle Bakken, 7,860 feet TPD, average porosity of 7.7%, 26% water saturation, and a 9.2 million barrel per section. And then for the first bench of the Three Forks, a little bit deeper, obviously TPD 7935, 8% average porosity, a water saturation of 29%, an average gross thickness of 50 feet, and a 9.9 million barrels per section. Original oil in place.
Thank you. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none.
I move to have exhibits 5 and 6 admitted to the record.
Motion's granted.
Keith, could you please take us through the remaining exhibits?
Sure. Exhibit 7's an example wellbore diagram of our 3-mile horizontal with a 7-inch intermediate and 4.5-inch cemented liner.
Exhibit 8.
Exhibit 8 is our proposed unit development with the units outlined in red with the proposed interior locations with 4 Middle Bakken and 4 Three Forks per 1920. Red dashed lines being Three Forks wells and black being Bakken wells. We've also shown the proposed pad locations in blue, kind of with that infrastructure corridor going east and west.
Thank you. Exhibit 8.
Exhibit 8 are
Exhibit 9. Second Exhibit 8, I guess that should be Exhibit 9.
Yeah. This exhibit shows the well economics and reserves for both the Middle Bakken and the Three Forks. Starting with the Middle Bakken with an EUR of 644,000 barrels per 3-mile lateral. At a $70 oil price, a 9.2 million DNC cost. There's a 48% IRR and a 22-month payout, and a 9.2 million barrels of oil in place per section. That implies a 9.3% recovery factor. For the Three Forks, we're estimating an EUR of 610,000 barrels, and at $70 oil and 9.2 million DNC, projecting a 42% IRR, a 24-month payout, and a 9.9 million barrels of oil in place per section. That implies an 8.2% recovery factor.
In both this application and the prior application 32851, is it your opinion that the proposed spacing units or wells will prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any questions from staff?
Keith, again, I guess on your first Exhibit 8, the development plan you've got laid out here, will you be drilling an initial well in each of these spacing units or batch drilling across the entire acreage?
Again, similar to the last case, one of these units or potentially two will be fully developed in batch drilling, and others will have a single HBP well that we'll come back to take a look at.
And in your full development scenario, you are planning for both Middle Bakken and Three Forks farm development?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? All right, hearing none.
I move to have Exhibits 7 through 9 admitted to the record, and Exhibit 10, the gas capture affidavit.
Motion's granted. Exhibits will be admitted. Anything else on this case?
No.
All right, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32852. I don't show any other cases on our docket for today. So with that, we will close the record.